Round one. Fight!
Welcome to Tier Ranker Fights. This is episode 40 coming at you. We are doing best Christmas movies today, and I'm excited for this one. I'm your host, as always, Jordan Movie Hero Anderson. Today, I'm the Filthy Animal to represent my favorite Christmas movie of all time, if you can guess what that is. And I'll go ahead and I will introduce our panel of guests today. So we'll start with my co-host, Austin Pez. How's it going?
Yippee-ki-yay. Let's do this. We had our fun last night on tournament fights, playing around with the picks, but now it's time to get serious and actually rank some really great Christmas movies. So, we got an all-star panel. I'm very excited.
Yeah, for anyone who didn't see our tournament fights episode, we're a little wacky, kind of like started off kind of with some normal picks and then kind of took a hard left turn and just like it got
into Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 territory. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, right. So if you want to see something a little more realistic, this is the show for that. So, but we'll go ahead and introduce our panel. We have one person returning. We have William the Beast Bibiani. How's it going, sir?
Hey, ho, ho, ho. And all that good stuff. It's beginning to look a lot like this show.
Oh, yeah.
On. We're going to talk Christmas. I'll be around.
Awesome. And then we also have Mr. Christmas himself, Alonzo Giralde. How's it going?
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We're excited. So, excited to talk some Christmas movies with you. So, yeah.
Oh, what's this? Oh, it's Alonzo's book. I'm sorry. Oh, wait a minute. He's got one too. What happened there? How did we get this? Oh, on Amazon, maybe?
Yeah. Available on Amazon. Go check it out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sorry, just a cheap plug, but come on. You deserve it.
I will take the plugs cheap or otherwise.
Have yourself a movie Little Christmas. It's like the Leonard Maltin movie guide for Christmas movies. You got to love it, right?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's great.
Yes, we also have the other half of what is formerly known as Paddington 2, Matt Atchity. How's it going?
Mele Kalikimaka, as they say
in
the islands.
The big kahuna in the house. Then we also have another first-timer, Chadwick Webb, joining us. How's it going?
Hi, sorry. Yeah, I was just actually adding that book to my cart. So
that's right. We're gonna make Amazon sell out of them tonight. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make them sell out. I have to order more.
I get to chat some Christmas with some good friends and some Schmodown legends. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It'll definitely be a fun time. So, Austin, if you kind of want to explain how it's going to work while I bring up the tier ranker chart.
All right, so Jordan's going to bring up our tier ranker chart with all the little thumbnails or posters of all these wonderful Christmas movies. There's a lot of them to choose from, but there's a lot of Christmas movies. So Jordan will eventually slide us over on the left like you just did over there, and what we'll do is we'll start at the bottom of the Mortal Kombat ladder, and we'll work our way up, and every time we get to somebody, you get to pick a movie, any movie from our list, and you can nominate it for a ranking on our chart. See, we've got S is for superior. It's even above A. That's the best of the best of the best. and that's what you want to aim for, the S tier, and the rest go like grades in school. But you can nominate any movie for any ranking whatsoever. When it's your turn, you don't just have to stick to S tier. You can rank a bad movie, you can rank a mediocre movie, whatever you like. And we just keep rotating around and around and around. And when we get to the 2-hour mark or so, we'll kind of start wrapping it up. We have like a Hail Mary kind of speed last chance round. We'll kind of go through that when we get there. But other than that, yeah, we just kind of rotate around and everybody gets to chime in on each movie, and we take an average of all the rankings, kind of like a median ranking, kind of figure out where it goes on the charts after everybody's voted, and I'll keep tally of the votes.
Yes, and we also have a slot for if you think that it's not, that it might be possibly not a Christmas movie, you can make an argument for that. And then also we like to say that at least 3 of us on the panel have to have seen it for it to count. I feel like maybe like Alonzo, maybe you've seen almost every one on this list, but but if we don't have at least 3, then we'll throw it in the haven't seen category there. So yeah.
Oh, I've got some gaps, I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, yeah, and one other thing is when everybody's nominated, about a minute or less, just give your explanation, and then everybody else, about a minute or less, just roughly where you would rank it and why, and we just kind of figure it out from there. So just kind of laying it out so we can keep the show moving. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So
we'll start at the bottom of the ladder with Chad. So you're up first.
Right.
So you want to pick one to nominate?
Absolutely.
Any movie.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with
slow scroll, so you can see.
I'm gonna go with the one that like basically made my childhood and made a lot of other people's childhoods. And I'm gonna go with Home Alone right out of the gate. I don't know where everybody falls with this movie, but for me, I personally would put it in S tier. I just think it's basically a perfect movie. It's fun. You have like Kevin McAllister as a little kid that you get to identify with, especially if you're a kid, but as an adult you might identify more with the mom, and you get Catherine O'Hara is amazing in this as well, and you get like basically you get like full arcs, I feel like, from her and him, and they kind of like understand each other more at the end and come together as a family. A lot of the, people in this movie are kind of like weird and mean at the beginning. And then at the end, I feel like a lot of them come together at the end, especially, the mom and the kid. It's very funny, have baller performances, from Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci. And it's just one of the most fun movies ever. And I just think, it's S tier.
All right, fair enough. Sure. We're gonna move it on up to Matt. Matt, where would you rank it and why?
I don't know that I would put it in S. I think part of it is as a parent, there's an element of this movie that's really hard to overlook, which is poor little kid getting left by himself. And I think, that being said, it is a really fun movie. I don't know that I would say, if I had I wouldn't necessarily put it in the top 10 Christmas movies of all time. So I would give it an A. That's where I would put it personally.
Fair.
Oh, sorry. One other thing I forgot about the rules. At the end of the show, we want 10 in the S tier. So that's what we're going to limit it to 10. So literally a top 10 in the S tier. And we also try to get 3 honorable mentions from the A tier. So we'll decide that later. But those go into a poll in our Schmoedown Friends and Family group tomorrow. So, but again, you can rank them wherever you want to, but we're only going to allow at the end of the show 10 in the S tier. So yeah. So Matt, you go like an A? Is that yeah?
Yeah, that's where I would vote for A.
Sounds good. A. All right. Mr. Allday, what do you got for Home Alone?
Yeah.
Okay. I was out of college when this movie opened, so I don't have the lifelong affection for people who grew up with it, and I get that, absolutely. But we're talking just as far as like personal things go. I watched this movie for the first time when I was writing the book. When I sat down to do the research, I knew I had to finally watch Home Alone, which I had just sort of sat out because it was such a gigantic phenomenon.
Oh, just real quick, you mean this book? Have yourself a movie, little. Oh, just
That very book.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
We're gonna do it as many times as possible as we can squeeze it in tonight.
So as
Yeah.
somebody who did not see this movie until like Macaulay Culkin could drive, I don't love it that much. I find a lot of the slapstick in this movie to be just like more painful than funny. I do weirdly like the relationship with the weird neighbor. Like, I think that gives the movie a really sweet undertone. I will also grant that there is a line that can be drawn from A Christmas Carol to It's a Wonderful Life to Home Alone as being these sort of redemption stories of people who are given a glimpse at an alternate life they might have led or might lead in the future and come to understand, to appreciate, the people that they have around them. So it does certainly work in that way. I'm going to go B. I'm not a giant fan of this one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
No worries.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Bibbs.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
William,
this movie came out when I was about 8 years old, so I was like the perfect demographic for it. And as a kid, I really liked it. At the heart of it, it's a story about a child who feels just completely suffocated by their family, and all of a sudden they have freedom. And on that level, the movie's a lot of fun. It is also held together by like little tiny flicks of string, and if you blew on it like too hard, the entire premise would fall apart. And I think John Hughes knew that, and he tried to cover all the bases. But for me, as an adult, anytime I watch this movie, I think to myself, this is barely holding together. The slapstick at the end feels really backloaded and doesn't feel like it has anything to do with the first 2/3 of the movie that we previously watched. I'm almost of a mind to say it's not a Christmas movie because you could remove Christmas from this movie and it would be the exact same film. So I'm not a huge fan of it. I am actually of the opinion that the fifth Home Alone is the best one because it actually is the best screenplay out of all of them. But I can't deny that this works for little kids. So I'm going to give this a courtesy C.
Wow.
A courtesy C. Like
Sure,
kids,
sure, yeah.
cool, they'll like it. As an adult, I have no desire to see this again. I'm kind of done with Home Alone, to be frank.
Sure. Well, Austin, what do you think?
Well, I'm definitely done with Home Alone after that most recent Disney Plus one. That's for damn sure. Because boy, that movie is awful, awful.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother thing for another show. I would put Home Alone solidly in the A tier. I think if I was back, 9 years old watching this movie on VHS over and over again, when I did, it would be an S tier movie. I've cooled off on it a little bit and moved on to some other things. I still watch it and enjoy it. I love Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern's chemistry in the movie. Like, I think they're really, really great together. And I think the John Williams score is excellent, actually. It's a kind of a quintessential Christmas movie score. And we can't really discount, what it did at the box office. I mean, wasn't it, number one for like 12, 13 weeks in a row, something like that? I mean, it was nuts. It was a phenomenon. Well, no, I'm not going by box office, but it's a factor. I'm only saying that in all timers, it's a lot in people's hearts. But for me personally, I give it a strong A.
Yeah, for me, so I'm a huge Home Alone fan. This movie came out at the perfect time for me when I was a kid, and yeah, I grew up watching this. Just I can pretty much quote the entire movie from beginning to end. I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to spare you of that. But I've seen it so many times, and just all the different performances from all the characters for me really, really work together. The whole family dynamic and the way that it's written too, as compared to some of the other Home Alones movies that don't work for me, like 3 and 4, some of those, and but this one is one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, not just a Christmas movie. I mean, just favorite movies in general. So I'm not a filthy animal tonight. So I got to go hard for Home Alone. I got to show it some love. So I'm gonna say S tier for Home Alone.
Ayo.
Yeah. All right. Well, the average of those. So we've got two S's two S's, two A's, a B, and a C. I think it definitely slides down out of the S tier, and it might end up maybe mid A when it's all said and done. We will see where everything
like mid A,
and we'll go back and see where the where the votes
definitely a lot of nostalgia there.
It's a nostalgia, everyone. But we will move on to Mr. Atchity, and you can pick whatever you like, sir, and nominate. What would you like?
That's a good question. Do you guys want my hot take on something that's not a Christmas movie, or one of the ones that I think
whatever
is
you want
a perfect
on that?
You could do a hot.
We could have a debate to start. We could do that. Yeah.
So we'll start with a debate. I'm going to nominate for the not a Christmas movie section. It's a Wonderful Life.
All right.
Ooh.
Terrific movie. Absolute great moving movie.
No,
it only happens to take place around Christmas time. Christmas does not drive that story at all. And so I would argue it doesn't belong in Christmas movie canon. Yes, it comes on around Christmas. Yes, it happens to be near Christmas in the story, but there's nothing that drives that story about Christmas. You could set that any other time in the year and it would be fine.
Right. Makes sense. Well,
here's why you're wrong.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
As I said earlier, I think It's a Wonderful Life is the closest American piece of art that goes with Charles Dickens' as A Christmas Carol. And I think that you could take the Christmas out of it argument for most of these movies. Yes, they could just be about a family or about a heist or about a whatever that isn't happening at Christmas time. However, I think that the cultural weight of Christmas as a season of goodwill, as a time of year when we think that reinvention is possible, that we look to see the best in our fellow men, that is often the reason why these films, particularly the ones that we'll be talking about today, are set at Christmas time. So yes, could It's a Wonderful Life be set another time of year? Certainly it could. Would it carry the same emotional weight of someone discovering the worth of their own life with everyone else in their life coming to him and letting him know the impact that they've had upon him and not be set at Christmas? I say no. I think it's a deliberate choice. And frankly, I think we get too doctrinaire about what a Christmas movie is anyway. I don't believe in the Linus test. I don't believe in a movie that has to stop and talk about the nativity. I don't think that a movie has to be entirely, contingent upon snow. I think a Christmas movie is something a little more ephemeral. And I think that very often when we're talking about films that deal not only with emotion, but that deal with, families coming together to heal or people coming together to find the best parts of themselves. That is intrinsically part of the stories that we tell at Christmas. And I think that is the kind of storytelling that is intrinsic to It's a Wonderful Life. And it's an S, by the way.
Oh, sure. The guy who wrote the book on Christmas.
Yeah, the guy who on Christmas had an opinion. Oh, my God. It's my turn next. I'm just going to take it. I agree with Alonzo. I agree, actually, on some levels Alonzo didn't even cover. A, I think it's an S tier movie. B, I think it is the ultimate Christmas movie. I've heard the arguments that maybe it's not a Christmas movie because so much of it doesn't take place at Christmas. The entire movie takes place at Christmas. The entire movie takes place with a guy suffering from intense seasonal depression, from the weight of the anxiety and responsibility that have been placed on his shoulders, and the enormous economic anxiety that comes with this time of year, contemplating ending his own life. And then the entire movie is built around a Christmas miracle that ends up with him running down the streets screaming Merry Christmas at everything, including the movie house. It is a fundamentally Christmas movie. It is a Christmas movie that understands that Christmas isn't just about one time of year. It's about keeping that Christmas feeling all season long, all year, all that sense of giving. That's what George Bailey's life was nothing but giving, and it started to take its toll on him. And only on Christmas, a time of giving, does he fully appreciate what it's like to be on the other end of that and know that other people care about him. I consider It's a Wonderful Life to be one of the greatest movies ever made, and I think it's specifically because it is not incidentally about Christmas. It understands Christmas on a much richer and darker level than a lot of the movies that we're going to talk about on this list, some of which people might even like more. So yeah, this is an S tier movie, and it is very much a Christmas movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Austin, what do you think?
Well, page 202 of this book called "Have Yourself a Movie, Little Christmas." I'm looking at "It's a Wonderful Life," and there's a nice little entry in here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, "It's a Wonderful Life." Yeah, dude, it's S tier. "It's a Wonderful Life" is great, and it helps for me personally that the first time I ever sat down and actually watched it start to finish was in a movie theater, and I think that definitely helped me get wrapped up in the story. At a local theater when I was back in Florida shows it every year, and I was able to go to a screening, and it was a lot of fun. People who just love the movie, who are applauding, who love the ending. I mean, there's not much I can say about "It's a Wonderful Life" other than it's great, and unlike John Glover and Gremlins 2, it does not need to be colorized. S tier.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I would agree that it's definitely a Christmas movie because I mean just like Bibiani said, like the entire movie takes place during Christmas time, and I mean, yeah, you can make an argument to say that I mean the exact same events could have happened in the same exact way if it wasn't Christmas time, but it is Christmas time, and I think that kind of adds to the magic and the fun of the movie for me, and this is a movie that I watch every single Christmas Eve as I'm scrambling to wrap my last minute present, like at 10 p.m. at night every year. But yeah, like I think that it's great. Like it's definitely one of my favorite Christmas movies. This is coming from someone who struggles to find very many movies that I like pre 1970. I'm just like not of that era, so like I have a hard time. But I do find some that I really do like, and this is one of them. This is one of my favorite. Like I love "It's a Wonderful Life," so I would give it an S tier for sure. So,
all right, Chad,
yeah.
Speaking last, after all these great opinions, I respect Matt's opinion, but yeah, I'm definitely on the other side of this. It took me a while to actually get to this movie, but like once I started watching it, it definitely went right into the rotation. I also agree with S tier. I think it's just one of those kind of perfect movies. You get to see George Bailey over his almost his whole life, and just everything's crushing this guy from stopping him from doing like what he wants to do and following his dreams, and he still has to basically save this town. And I feel like just that spirit of giving and trying to save this town is definitely the crux of it. I mean, I hear this opinion of we have to be very technical about Christmas movies, and I'm like, well, I mean, if you take Michael Myers out of Halloween, is it still a horror movie? Is it just a nice movie? I mean, it's like when you start getting technical things, very technical like that, then you can kind of just erode the entire Christmas genre, I guess. But I think myself and a lot of people, it just it gives you that Christmas feeling, because you have that sense of not just family with George Bailey and his family and his little daughter at the end, and that great quote about the angel, and then but you have just a sense of togetherness with the town, and I feel like that's kind of what Christmas is all about.
Yeah.
Well, consensus is Mr. Atchity is going to get outvoted, and "It's a Wonderful Life's going to go right to the top right now with 5 S tier votes. So,
really quick, I don't want to make it sound like I don't like the movie. It is a wonderful film. It is one of the finest movies anyone's ever made. For 1946, the scene with Donna Reed and James Stewart next to the bush where she is in her negligee is amazingly sexy for a mid-40s movie. It's a terrific film. As we're talking about Christmas movies, I'm on the fence about it.
This is kind of an interesting situation.
It's a take.
Yeah.
Also, the phone call scene with Sam Wainwright is crazy.
Oh
sexy.
God, that's intense.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Well, Alonzo.
Well, since Alonzo got a hard out in about 45 minutes or so, want to give him a double pick, and maybe he'll do one and then another quick one after that. I know he's got a hard out, so Yeah, why don't you start with one, and then we'll give you another one after that.
All right, well,
Fair.
let's go with something a little more recent. I'm gonna say that Krampus is there have been a lot of there's a whole subgenre of holiday horror, but I think it pulls it off with some wit. And I think there's a lot of really fun performances and some genuinely frightening moments. I have not had a chance to watch the director's cut that Scream Factory is putting out, but I imagine it also will deliver.
It's coming.
So I will say that I will give that a high B.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
So
Krampus.
Yeah.
Krampus is an underrated Christmas horror film. People who know me know that I love Christmas movies and I love horror movies and I love Christmas horror movies. It's not my favorite Christmas horror movie by any stretch, and I suspect we'll get to mine eventually. But it has a lot of fun with it. It really appreciates just like how awful Christmas can be, and it decides to just punish everyone in the family for being terrible at Christmas time, using a variety of Christmas themed nightmares. I wish it had a little bit more to say about the holiday than that, but beyond that, yeah, it's a fun flick, and I think B is exactly the place to put it. I'm totally fine with giving it a B.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. I think it's a really high B. It's really good. I don't find it terribly rewatchable. I've only watched it maybe twice, I think. I saw it in the theater, then I bought the Blu-ray, watched it again. Just because, yeah, like Bibb said, there's another Christmas horror movie on this list that I watch a lot more. But yeah, like I love the mix of the practical effects. I like a lot of the practical stuff that they encounter in the attic, things like that in the kitchen. The actual monster is really cool. And yeah, the ending is kind of open to interpretation. I know I've seen kind of two different versions of what people think of it, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that naughty cut that's coming out from Scream Factory, the R-rated naughty cut, and I'm gonna pick it up. But yeah, I'd go with like a high B for Krampus. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think you guys are all spot on. Yeah, I would probably go with about a B as well. This movie's a lot of fun. Like I love horror comedy movies, and then you add in the Christmas element, and it's a great mixture. But for me, the comedy does, for me personally, take away a little bit from the scare factor. But that's not to take away from the overall, like how much I enjoyed the movie. I still think it's a lot of fun. You have some really good chemistry and some great laughs from like Adam Scott, Toni Collette, David Koechner, some of those guys, and so yeah, like I think B is about a perfect spot for that. Like I enjoy it. I don't love it, but I have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, B. Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I've only seen this movie once, like maybe a year or two ago. But high B is exactly where I had this on my list too. I think everybody is spot on here. I think it's a very, very fun movie. It's not a great movie, but it's very fun to watch. And I do think, like, especially when you got that Krampus and that like big Krampus, and they're like hiding behind cars and stuff. That was like a really tense, scary scene, and there's just a lot of really cool stuff in that movie. And I think that the humor, I always love like a good horror comedy. So yeah, definitely high B for me as well.
This is one I haven't seen, so I have no vote.
All right.
Well, fair enough.
Well, it was a unanimous B across the board. So yeah. Lonzo, you want another quick one, real quick, and then we'll go to Bibbs?
Sure. And I think this one may be a little less agreeable, just because I'm going to go high, and maybe others will not share my conviction here. But I'm going to say that Ernst Lubitsch's The Shop Around the Corner is a classic, not only just of the rom-com genre in general, but of Christmas movies in particular. And I am putting that in the S tier. I think that it is a film that has been directly remade twice. It's been turned into at least one Broadway musical. Its general premise has been borrowed by countless Hallmark movies at this point. But the idea that James Stewart and Margaret Sullivan are co-workers who hate each other, but they are pen pals who love each other without knowing that at first. It's a great premise. The whole store is filled with memorable, hilarious characters. And I think that if you want to argue that you didn't have to set it at Christmas, I would say this is a movie set in a retail space, and so Christmas is where everybody is at their most tense and most frazzled, and that's part of where the comedy comes from. So yeah, I think this is an absolute gem. It's one I try to get back to every December, and so yeah, I'm going to go S tier for Shop Around the Corner.
All right, perfect.
Shop Around the Corner is one of only 2 movies I watch every Christmas. Without fail. I 100% agree it's in the S tier. I 100% agree that the retail environment is what makes it extra Christmassy. If you've ever worked any kind of retail in the Christmas season, you know that is a nightmare hellscape. And any personal problems you may have with anything else are going to get exacerbated one way or another. And I think the movie cleverly follows that. It's another movie that I think follows some seasonal depression. The story of the Mr. Matichak, who owns the department store, is one of the saddest yet sweetest Christmas subplots I've ever seen in a movie. The entire cast is wonderful. It's very, very funny. This is an all-timer. I'm so glad Alonso brought it up before I could, because I get to use my thing for something else, because that was going to be what I was going to do next. So yes,
Well, Austin?
Maybe it's an age thing. I just haven't seen it, but I do appreciate the recommendation, because I pulled it up on IMDb while you guys were talking. 8.1 and 96 on Metacritic. Yeah, people love this movie. I'm happy to hear it's that good. I do work in retail, so I do understand all this around the holiday season, and it's on HBO Max. So I'm gonna watch it based on y'all's recommendation. Yeah, I'm fine if it ends up in the S tier. I cannot vote. I have not seen it, but it sounds great. I want to.
Yeah, and I also haven't seen it, but it's one that's on my list to watch this year because I really want to see it. Like for some reason, like it's on my list so many times, but then for whatever reason, I just don't get around to it. But I want to make it a priority because I really like the cast and the premise. Sounds like a lot of fun. So yeah, but I can't really comment really on. I haven't seen it. So, Chad.
I am in the same boat as you guys. I don't want to blame it on an age thing. I've seen a lot of classic Christmas films, and I meant to watch this one last year. I have like a rotation that like I watched for a long time, and I'm trying to add more to it. And this is like totally on me. I'm definitely checking it out this year, and I'm sure once I see it, I will agree with S tier, but I have to abstain, unfortunately.
Sure, yeah. What do you think?
This is where I ruin Christmas. I will sheepishly admit I have not seen this movie yet.
You ruined nothing. It's fine. I envy you getting to see it for the first time.
Don't forgive this, Alonso.
All of you. I envy you getting to see it for the first time.
That's
I'll watch
true.
it for you.
So with that, unfortunately, we have to.
The first time. It's really bad that we don't get to canonize it right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next year.
Well, and I know we're kind of delaying bibs, but when somebody gets one that's in the haven't seen category, we do give them a mulligan, courtesy another pick, just because it did not make the chart. So I know this is the third one, but So I apologize, bibs, but that is kind of how we do things. So Alonso.
Okay. Let's see. Gosh, some great choices here. Let's say, okay, I'm gonna say the 2018 animated The Grinch is an A. A movie that I did not want to see. I didn't necessarily think it needed to exist, and it turns out very charming, very clever, and took the terrible aftertaste of the 2000 Jim Carrey version, which I despise, out of my mouth. So yeah, I'm not somebody
I'm not the only one that despises that.
I'm not necessarily a giant fan of Illumination in general, but I kind of feel like in this one they really nailed it. I love the visual of it, like the whole the way that they have conceived Whoville as a 3D space, I think is really exciting. The fact that they were able to expand the film to feature length without completely throwing out the sort of spirit behind it. I think so often, and even on this list in particular, there's a lot of films that are like charming children's storybooks, would have made a good half-hour TV special, or did make a good half-hour TV special, but then become this giant 2-hour thing that is just completely out of whack. And this is one of the few cases where I think they were able to take this very, simple, straight ahead story and expand it in a way that didn't blow it out of proportion. And yeah, I liked it a lot. And I was there's nothing I love more as a film critic than the delight of surprise in a film that you either didn't have high hopes for or were actively dreading. And this was one of those. So A for me.
All right, Bibiani.
Well, sounds good.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And thanks to Alonso's recommendation, now I will. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I yield the floor.
Yeah. Austin?
I didn't see it either because I wasn't interested.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. Oh boy,
Might be another one.
So I'm sorry. Yeah.
Because I have not seen it either. So it just didn't really.
Alonso gets another mulligan at this point. Unless we
Yeah,
get
I
two
know.
more. What do we got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't really interest me.
Chad, did you
I
see
usually
it?
go for the 60s one. So that's
I've
when
had
one
this
only one I
movie
watch.
on in my presence for the kids. But I also never made an effort to sit down and watch it because I actually don't hate the 2000s Grinch. I was like
Fair
a
enough.
perfect age for that as well.
Yeah.
Matt?
Oh man.
Well, Matt.
I have seen it, and Alonso's absolutely right. In fact, we might have seen that at the same screening, and it was a wonderful surprise. And yeah, it's terrific. Like Alonso, there are movies like, God forbid you try and make an hour or hour and a half long movie out of Charlie Brown Christmas. That would be brutal. But they make it work here, and it's terrific. And
Yeah.
A is the right spot for it.
Well, as much as I want to leave it in the A tier, not enough people have seen this one either. So
Yeah, well,
we gotta move
Alonso
on.
gets another
Move
one.
it down.
Damn it.
okay,
Yeah.
fine. Gremlins, Jesus.
Okay.
Gremlins, Jesus.
Okay.
I didn't see
Will
Gremlins,
do.
Jesus either.
We'll do
Yeah.
Gremlins.
Yeah.
I know you people have seen that.
That's right.
Yes, we've seen Gremlins. Yes.
I know there are folks that would S it, but I'm going to say A. I think that it is a solid film and a funny film and an effective horror comedy and a fun play on Christmas movie tropes. Like Joe Dante his stated purpose was to basically turn It's a Wonderful Life into a monster movie, and so there's a lot that I love about this movie. I think it's endlessly clever, but it is not one that I would mount as the sort of one of the unassailable sort of Mount Rushmore of Christmas movies, but absolutely an A.
Yeah, sounds good.
I will also give it an A. I really think this is a wonderful movie, and I really do think that it does have a lot to say about Christmas. It has to do with people who get a gift for a holiday and don't accept the responsibility of it, and how that can go horribly wrong. You get to see consumerism run rampant as the Gremlins just start consuming everything. And it ends in a department store with everyone killing each other with all the various gifts. It's a hoot. It's wonderfully well made. It's definitely like a 4-star, wonderful film. As a Christmas movie, it's just outside of my favorite, so I'm going to give it an A.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin.
Yeah, A's perfect for it because Bibbs and I agree that Gremlins 2 is an S tier movie because it does it even better. But Gremlins, it does not discount Gremlins. I do like Gremlins a lot. It's a lot of fun. And I will just add that the kitchen massacre sequence with the mom is one of the greatest sequences of all time. And it is amazing. Like just the way it's shot, the way it's filmed, how it kind of comes out of nowhere with her being a badass. It's great. So, I'll agree with A.
Yeah, and I would agree with you guys too that it's an A tier. That I have a lot of fun with it, and I didn't really think that Gremlins 2 was an S tier until I rewatched it this year and forgot how damn good that freaking movie is. Like it's really fun. But for the first Gremlins, it's definitely one of my favorite Joe Dante movies, and also I definitely would consider it a Christmas movie because the little boy literally gets the gizmo as a Christmas present. So I mean, and so yeah, and I think that it's a great movie. So I would say A for sure. So, Chad.
Yeah, I actually watched the '90s horror one in preparation for this, and I kind of do agree with the love for Gremlins 2. I watched it, and that was a big surprise. We're not talking about that movie, but that one I need to watch again, and I might agree with S tier. For Gremlins, I did put this in A tier also for my list. I think that it's a very, very fun movie. I mirror everything everybody else has said. I love Gizmo the Mogwai, and just everything else about this movie. But I do also think that it's lesser of a Christmas movie than a lot of other movies, and it's also not something I feel like I have to watch every year.
Yeah, sounds good. Matt, what do you think?
Matt, you're muted.
He's muted. He's muted.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
You don't hear the leaf blower outside. This is a great movie. Absolutely A is the place to put it. The two quick things I want to point out is love Hoyt Axton in this. And I always still kind of want a bathroom buddy for real. And the best sequence in this movie, in my humble opinion, is Phoebe Cates talking about why she doesn't like Christmas. It's so good. And it shows how both she and Dante can like thread this needle between comedy and real pathos, and it's just so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it sets up the Lincoln's birthday scene in Gremlins
too.
Exactly. All right. Well, A's across the board. So it's gonna. Yeah.
The uppermost.
All right. So it's finally William's turn. So
I want to get some of the old movies in before Alonzo leaves, and I have no chance of getting them onto this list. Movie of all time. This is a Christmas movie that understands that the idea we have of Christmas is superficial and unattainable, and that people are deeply flawed and extremely horny. I am talking about Christmas in Connecticut.
Okay.
Christmas in Connecticut stars Barbara Stanwyck as a woman who is basically the Martha Stewart of her time. The only gag is she can't cook. She is not a homemaker of any kind whatsoever. She's a very modern woman, and when she is forced to put on the perfect Christmas for a soldier and pretend that she's married, boy, does the shit hit the fan. They are very, very funny together. It is all about building up and breaking down Christmas expectations. It is a great Christmas movie, and it is a great subversive Christmas movie. And again, it is really horny. So I gotta love it. I watch it every year. It's easily my favorite. Christmas in Connecticut all the way.
So where would you put it?
S tier? S tier, yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, Austin, have you seen
for this segment of the show, I need to bring my mom on because she watches TCM all Christmas and has probably seen all these movies. Can I sub her in to talk about all these movies? Because I have not, unfortunately. I mean, I know it's going to be a surprise. I've seen It's a Wonderful Life. I've seen White Christmas. I've seen Holiday Inn. But sorry, I haven't seen Christmas in Connecticut. I apologize. But yeah, I'm going to get around to some of these movies this year.
For me, it'd be my ex-wife I need to bring on, because she's the one that's introduced me to a lot of classic movies, but we didn't quite get around to Christmas in Connecticut, so I have not seen it, so I'll have to abstain. Chad?
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies is a classic film, but it is not Christmas in Connecticut. I am going to watch it. Just shop around the corner, Christmas in Connecticut this year.
Yep.
Haven't seen it.
Come on, Matt. You've seen it, right? Come on, Matt.
I am yet again ruining Christmas.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
See, I have an excuse. I didn't write the book on Christmas.
Alonzo, you'd be with me on this, though, right?
I would absolutely be with you on that one. Yes, I'm shocked that it hasn't been remade well. There was one terrible remake that was the sole directorial credit for one Arnold Schwarzenegger. It is a movie that is about the performance of coziness and the performance of domesticity and how much that ties into what we expect out of Christmas. And yeah, it is rather subversive. And I'll tell you, you have to wonder what was going on with World War II audiences, because this is a romantic comedy that opens with a U.S. troop ship being sunk by enemy torpedoes and only 2 people surviving. That's the beginning of a romantic comedy.
It's a movie that has everything. I love it so much. All right, so I guess do I get another one? Is that how this works?
Yeah, you get another one.
Okay, this is okay. If you guys didn't see Christmas in Connecticut, I don't even know why I'm bothering with this. But screw it. Monty Woolley is a king forever. The Man Who Came to Dinner. starring the amazing Monty Woolley as basically an analog of Alexander Wolcott. This incredibly popular wit and acclaimed celebrity who, while visiting a small town on a speaking tour, ends up injuring himself in front of some random family's house and has to stay with them over the holiday season, making a total ass of himself while like the first lady is calling just to speak to him because he's her favorite. And yeah, it's just a movie about a really selfish jerk who ruins Christmas for everybody. And because it's Monty Woolley, you love him for it the entire way through. I love movies about people being extremely inconvenienced and yet still managing to find a way to shine. So if everyone just wants to go, didn't see it in succession, I will let it go and I'll move on to something more popular.
I'm getting a lot of great recommendations for my watching this year.
No, Jordan.
Same.
Okay. Okay. What do we got here? We got Chad.
Chad.
Haven't seen it.
Matt. Alonzo, could you please at least validate me?
Seen it. Not a fan though. I have to say. No, and I'm in the minority. People love this movie. I like it in concept, and I bet it's hilarious on stage. But the movie is so very stagey, and I find it kind of grating.
Oh, that sucks. Okay, you know what? I was going to go Meet Me in St. Louis or The Bishop's Wife next, but I have no confidence any of them are going to make it.
So, your instinct is probably right on.
Instead, this, by the way, this hurts. This is a really painful day for me. Instead,
I'm sorry.
I
thought with Alonzo and you and Matt, we were going to get it, but I apologize. I'm sorry.
Let's see what's actually okay. I'm gonna go the greatest Christmas horror movie of all time. Maybe not the most technically proficient, but the film that is absolutely the most about Christmas, has the most to say about Christmas, and is really taking Christmas to task. I'm going with the original Silent Night, Deadly Night.
All right.
And I think S tier is probably too much to ask, but I'm going to give it an A. Silent Night, Deadly Night is about a little boy who is traumatized on Christmas in a variety of ways, in a variety of years, and has so much baggage and is so absolutely intensely traumatized by Christmas that when he grows up and Christmas is foisted upon him and he's forced to dress as Santa Claus for a toy store, he snaps and starts killing everyone who he thinks of is naughty. It ends up in a spectacular killing spree of Christmas-themed murder. Every single thing there is to criticize about Christmas is criticized in this movie, from the consumerism to the conflation of Christmas and Christianity, to the absolute binary good versus evil quality of Santa Claus, to the insidious double standards of the Catholic Church. Everything about it works. Everything about it is really gory and exciting. It is a fun slasher movie for an adult, but if you're a kid who happens upon this, or even if you just saw that poster with the Santa Claus with the axe going down the chimney, it is the best kind of traumatic. It's a truly a Christmas nightmare that sticks with you. I'm a big fan of it. I think it works really, really well. I'm giving it an A.
Yeah. Well, Austin, have you seen it?
Bibbs, well, yeah, but Bibbs, why couldn't you nominate part 2 for S tier? And I'd back you up on that, because part 2 takes everything that's great from part 1 and adds the amazing Eric Freeman. Yes, it does. It is phenomenal.
It does do that, but no, it's also not a competent film. I'm sorry.
No, it's the greatest film. It's the greatest film. Look, okay, for me personally, but yes, see, because whatever. Silent Night, Deadly Night, yes, is an A. I do like it a lot. The Santa's watch, or the Santa's watching song that comes out of that is in my rotation because of this movie. Santa's here now. You know, it's a great song. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I personally I watch part 2 more just because it's got all the kills and Eric Freeman. So, but you know, that's just me. But I still think Silent Night, Deadly Night's an A. Like, I agree with you. I really like it. I watch it a lot. But you know, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I unfortunately have not seen it, but it's one that I really want to see. I mean, just by looking at the poster, like, it's intriguing. But even hearing you guys talk about it, like hypes it up even more. So I definitely want to see this movie, but I cannot comment on it. So. Chad?
I watched this last night for this show.
Ooh,
the first time. I I liked the first maybe 30 minutes of this movie. I thought the scene with the little boy and the his grandpa was something out of Twin Peaks, David Lynch had
Right.
directed that, and I loved that. I thought that was amazing. There was a good portion of this movie that I thought was actually pretty funny, and I really enjoyed a lot of that. I didn't watch it from Bibbs's lens though, but I kind of want to go back and watch it from that lens. I watched it kind of as I thought it was just a bad horror movie. So I want to rewatch it and view it from that lens a little down the road, not right away. I had this in D on my personal thing, but because of what Bibb said and thinking about it, I would like to bump it up to C personally.
Fair.
Yeah.
Matt?
Fair. Matt, what do you think?
You're muted.
Muted again.
Oh yeah.
Still muted.
Nope. Still muted.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see if it.
We'll come back to you. Let's go to Alonzo.
You know
Alonzo
sign
real quick.
language?
All right.
Yeah.
Oh. Matt, can you hear us?
Yeah,
We'll go to
Matt,
Alonzo
yeah,
real quick.
yeah.
We'll come back to
Okay.
Matt.
I'm a B on this one. I think that a lot of what Bibbs points out about it is true and correct, but I do still have a hard time with when 80s slasher movies take that moment to leer over boobies, and it just it's always in such a creepy way that I feel a little unclean about, in terms of who's participating in this film and who it's presumably made for and what that's supposed to be doing in a moment of otherwise oh no, I'm stabbing someone with antlers, but yeah, I think it is a very clever play on holiday tropes in a horror context, and that song is definitely creepy. So yeah, I say a solid B for sure.
I would argue just in defense of that one point, the movie does equate as the killer is a child. That sex and violence were completely conflated for him by his Catholic upbringing. So I do think there's a point to that, but also, yeah, they are trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Well, but I mean, there's also there's an assault that happens early in the film before
Yes.
the kid is set off down that road that feels very exploitative.
No, I'm not going to deny that, but I do think they have a point to make. Yeah.
All right.
Well, Matt, you got some audio?
Matt, are you
I
back?
hope so. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
I don't really have anything to add because, honest to God, I can't remember if I've seen this film or not. I may have seen it 20 years ago. And I'm sure Bibbs and Alonzo have this same issue. Sometimes you just can't remember if you've seen something.
No, for sure.
Right? So I have no vote.
Sure. Well, Austin, what are the votes at? We got
2 A's, a B, and a C. So maybe a high B or low A
or
or high B. High
Yeah.
B. High B, I think is fair because Krampus had all B's,
that's fair.
but Silent Night
we'll put
Deadly
it
had a couple
Krampus.
A's. Yeah.
Not the bees.
Yep.
Bees.
Yeah. So,
Moving on.
it's your turn, Austin.
Well, it's not garbage day, but I'll go with something that is garbage. I'll talk about another Christmas horror movie. I tend to try to watch the worst thing that on the list, and I didn't know Christmas could be as horrific as Christmas with the Cranks, but holy shit, is that movie horrific and scary and frightening and horrifying. Oh my God. I put it off until 2 days ago when we were prepping for some of these shows. And wow, I mean, what is up with this world where you are not allowed to not celebrate Christmas? I mean, God forbid these people were Jewish and moved into this neighborhood and actually, bullies them into decorating their house and forcing them to celebrate this holiday. I mean, it's the scariest movie I've seen so far that's related to Christmas. Scarier than Silent Night, Deadly Night, scarier than Krampus, scarier than Black Christmas. I hated every second of this movie. It stinks. And it was frightening, and it made me want to hide under my chair. So yeah, Christmas with the Cranks is horrific. It's an F.
Well, for some reason, my family loves Christmas with the Cranks. Like every year they want to sit down and I want to watch it. I don't understand why. Like, and I always feel like I'm like semi-forced to kind of sit there with them if I want to enjoy some family time. So I sit through this thing almost every year, and I'm a huge Tim Allen fan. Like he's one of my favorite actors, but like not in this movie, and not even Jimmy Lee Curtis, Dan Aykroyd, like none of those guys can save the movie for me. Like it is just bad. Just kind of what Austin said, just being forced to celebrate Christmas. I will say that the book though, it's a lot of fun. The book's only about 100 pages long. It's a pretty short little book, and so I definitely recommend the book, but called Skipping Christmas. But for Christmas with the Cranks, yeah, like it's pretty low. I don't know if I would go all the way to an F because I think that there's probably movies on here that are worse. So I'd give it a D for me. So
I watched this and Deck the Halls, and I chose to talk about Christmas and the Cranks over Deck the Halls. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
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 Chad?
I was just imagining Jordan at a family gathering, just like,
Yeah.
really good.
We're watching this shit again.
Yeah, really.
But no, 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. I still kind of want to check it out just to find out, but I haven't seen it.
You don't have to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to. You're fine. Matt?
I took everybody's advice and didn't see this.
You were wise.
Wise, yep.
Right. One of the benefits of working at Rotten Tomatoes when I did was when you see all the other critics say a movie is terrible, it's like, okay.
I'm fascinated with bad movies, to be fair. Like every time we do a tier ranker show, I will try to watch some of the worst ones on the list just because I'm fascinated by them. But yeah, like I watched Ed for our baseball movie, the one with Matt LeBlanc and the monkey, things like that. Like I will watch these movies. So that's just me. I'm morbid like that, but yeah. So sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Alonzo.
Yeah.
No. I was flinching at the thought of seeing Ed. This is an F for me. Also, I find this movie aggressively not funny and a waste of some really talented folks. And the only thing that I like about Christmas with the Cranks is that a friend of mine was in it and gets a nice check for it every year after it airs on cable or whatever. And so that I'm all for, but this movie, no.
Yeah.
I am so glad that I have found a way to give this movie what it truly deserves, because I feel an F is pretty kind. So I'm going to say that Cranks is not a Christmas movie. That's how much I hate this movie.
Something lower than F, yeah.
I'm considering that lower than an F. It's the very premise of the movie, and they didn't do it. So screw them. It's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
It hurts to watch. It physically hurts me.
Yes.
Well, it's an easy F. We'll just leave it right where it is. So,
So, folks, I have to skedaddle because I have a screening that I have to go to tonight. But thank you so much for having me in on this. I'm dying to see how this all shakes out at the end. But
do you have anything you want to plug real quick?
This?
Actually, guys, I have a new book called
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's called I'll Be Home for Christmas Movies, and I wrote it with the very funny hosts of the Deck the Hallmark podcast. It contains reviews of more than 100 Hallmark Christmas movies, as well as recipes and ideas for throwing your own Hallmark watching party, fun inside scoop from actors and directors and writers of these films, and lots of other fun stuff. Quick shout out to Mr. William Bibiani, who years ago is the one who turned me on to the crazy Hallmark movie universe, and now I have a book to show for it. So it's all his fault, but it's a really fun book. If you have people in your life who love Hallmark movies or people in your life who love to dunk on Hallmark movies, it's a great gift, and it's currently available wherever books are sold, as is Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas, my film guide to non-Hallmark movies that I'm sure will be mentioned once or twice before this thing is over. Anyway, thanks everybody.
I just want to say thank you to Alonzo for that, and to let this be a lesson to everybody. If you're passionate about something, write a book before you recommend it to others.
Yes, there you go.
It's a great book. Please read that book. It's a wonderful book.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy holidays, everybody. Thanks for having me. And I'll see
you
guys later.
Thanks for making the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There goes Alonzo. Thank you, Alonzo.
Yeah.
Right.
So Well,
All
so I
right,
guess
Jordan,
it was my
you're
turn
up.
next.
Mhm.
So I wanted to I talk about a movie that I think that Alonzo probably would have backed me up on my opinion of it, but I want to talk about the Jim Carrey Grinch movie because I hate that movie, and I think this movie gets way too much love. Like for me, like it just hit wrong for me. Like I didn't find it funny. I just found it cringeworthy. I just didn't like enjoy any of it. Like I didn't even find it charming at all. Like, and for some reason, I went out and I bought the soundtrack because I thought that I might like some of the artists on there, and had Jim Carrey like rapping with Busta Rhymes, and it's like really really bad. I don't know why I wasted my
Busta
money
should
on
know
that.
better.
Like I didn't like the movie, so why would I like the soundtrack? But I bought it anyway for some reason.
He beat up
So
Michael
yeah,
Myers sometimes.
yeah, right. But yeah, I know there's a lot of people that this movie came out at the right time for them, but it's just not for me. Like really, the only Grinch that I like is the one from the '60s. That was the TV special, but beyond that, I'm not really a fan of the Grinch as a character. So I'm gonna give it an F. So we'll see what you guys think. Chad?
Well, I mean, I alluded to this earlier. This one came out, when I was, when I was like 10. So, I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I'm not going to sit here and say this is a great film or anything like that. But I do love the effort that Jim Carrey put in as the Grinch. I do think he's very funny because I just love Jim Carrey in general. I think he brings a lot of really great humor to this, the back and forth with him and Max and picking out his clothes, and there's just a lot of really fun stuff. I think Cindy Lou Who in the movie is really cute. There's a lot of really fun, character actor performances like, Jeffrey Tambor and, a lot of really fun people in there. I think it's a really fun watch on Christmas. I don't think it's a great movie. I definitely wouldn't put it at an F personally. I would put it at a B personally. That's where I put it on my list.
Sure, yeah. Matt, what do you think?
It stinks. It gets an F.
Yeah.
It stinks so bad I'm not even gonna spend much time talking about it. The sooner it's forgotten, the better.
Right.
I'm also going to give this not a Christmas movie because this is worse than just bad. Because not only is it like Ron Howard just decides I'm going to take this fantastical world of Dr. Seuss and I'm going to make it soupy and remove as much color as possible and just make it hard to look at kind of the entire way through. And then I'm going to take this story that's about how capitalism is horrible and turn it into the most capitalistic Christmas enterprise in the history of Hollywood and just exploit it constantly for money and merchandise. And just have Jim Carrey just constantly allude to other things that are we're selling right now, other movies that we're selling, other pop culture ephemera, just to make sure that everyone understands we did not understand the story at all, and all that we're selling you is the most soulless, hateful, mean-spirited version of this we could possibly muster under any circumstance. It's a spectacularly awful motion picture, and yeah, I think F is too good for it.
Yeah, I would agree. Austin?
Maybe we should have added the G or something. I don't know, something even below F.
Yeah, right.
G for
for god awful, or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
right.
I know. I remember seeing this movie in the theater, and we all left with my family, and like everybody was raving about it, and I was the only one who's like, "How did you?" No, I hated that. Like, how did you guys like that? Like, I don't understand. I guess general audiences did like it. I know it made a boatload of money, so somebody liked it. And I was dumbfounded. And every time I've gone back to it, it's grating. The Whoville people are assholes. They're bullies. They're not likable whatsoever. But even Jim Carrey, like you kind of feel bad for the kid Grinch. Like I kind of sympathize with him. I think it's like the one decent scene where you feel bad for him. But like other than that, yeah, this movie is a train wreck. Yeah, I don't like it either. So yeah, F is fine with me. So yeah.
Well, leave it in the F tier. But I know Matt, you got to run. But do you have enough time for one more pick? Do you want to do one more, or do you got to
Sure, I'll pick an easy one.
right.
In 2003, we got a new entry at the top of the canon for Christmas movies when Jon Favreau and Will Ferrell gave us Elf. Yeah. It is a perfect movie. I say that rarely. It or at least nearly perfect movie, and I will give it an S.
Yeah. Well, William, what do you think for Elf?
I give it a C.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got no.
You're killing me.
I'll be kind. I'll give it a B. I'll give it a B. I think
Sure.
the cast really makes this work better than it really does on paper. I think Will Ferrell is spectacularly shrill and just very hard to watch for extended periods in this film. When he's dialed up to 10, he's just exhausting to watch. And I think he's dialed up to 10 constantly in this movie. It's a sweet premise. There's some funny stuff in it. I think Zooey Deschanel makes it work better than it probably should. James Caan is a brilliant bit of casting. But it's one joke. The movie is one joke over and over again. Sometimes it works. Usually it's pretty forgettable for me. I appreciate why people like it, but I don't think it's very interesting. I think it's pretty superficial.
Yeah. Well, Austin, what do you think?
I'm like the exact same with Bibbs. I think it's overrated. I get why people like it. I get it. But here's the thing. I think the first 20 or 30 minutes of this movie is like an S tier. I love the stuff where he's up at the North Pole, like trying to acclimate to this, everything being small and then the fish out of water. Like all that stuff is good. I like the Ives stuff where he's kind of interacting with the animated people while he's walking. That stuff is fun. And even the gorilla stuff they shot around New York City with him interacting with everybody, all that stuff is great. And I started to watch it. I'm like, oh man, maybe I was wrong. This movie's really good. It completely falls apart in the second half. I hate all the Santa Claus stuff at the end. I think it's really tacked on, corny. Like it just doesn't we got to lift the Christmas. I think it's all bad. I don't like any of that stuff in the third act. It just doesn't work for me. It falls apart. So I bump it up to a B because of that first half an hour or so. But yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not as high on Elf as everybody else is.
Yeah. Well, I think Elf is a great movie. I really, really like it, but I do tend to agree a little bit with Austin that all the Santa Claus stuff kind of falls apart for me. But then everything at the beginning of the movie is really, really great. There's a lot of just super funny lines, especially this movie hit me almost at the right age. I mean, I was just out of high school, but I mean, I still had a lot of fun. My family grew up watching like nothing but family type of movies, and so we had this on constant repeat. And this movie, unlike certain other movies, didn't get old and didn't feel very grating to me. I thought that Elf is a delightful movie, so I would give it a solid A for me. What I would do. Chad?
I think I'm with Matt. I'm just gonna say it. I think this is one of like the 3 maybe movies that is basically Christmas spirit, and I think Will Ferrell crushes his performance. I know a lot of people don't like Will Ferrell, but I think even people who don't like Will Ferrell can still see that he's giving a great performance in this, because he's not like this. He's like a child in like a sense where it's silly. In this, you can actually see that he's playing a character, and I feel like he lives in this role. And you get to follow him through this. You get to see the problems with him and his father. And I just think that like this movie, is. I agree. I think it's basically perfect. It's funny in all the right ways. When you get to the end, I think that's my favorite part. When you get to the end, and then you have to see that everybody has to start singing, and you get that full arc from Walter Hobbs, and it doesn't work until he starts singing. And I think that's just like the perfect message for, everybody's got to be in this or it doesn't work. And I think that that's just like the perfect message. I just love, basically everything about this movie. I think it's a modern classic. S tier.
Sure. Well, next tier. So what are the votes at, Austin?
2 S's, an A, and 2 B's. So it's kind of right in the middle in an A. It's going to slide down. Yeah.
All right.
You kind of need at least 3 S's to kind of bump up into that S tier. So that's kind of the thumb around here.
Sorry, man.
But
sorry,
that's all right.
I get
Well,
what
thank you guys for
people
having
like
me.
it. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
I unfortunately have to leave, but thank you very much, and happy holidays to everybody.
Happy
And if it doesn't make the list, I will just add, because probably not enough people saw it, Criminally Underseen, Arthur Christmas is worth checking out.
Oh yeah.
And on that
Definitely.
note, I am out.
All right. All right.
Bye,
All
man.
right.
We'll see you later. Thanks again. All right.
Man,
Well,
no
Crab,
further.
how do I not follow that up with picking Arthur Christmas?
Yeah, right.
Arthur Christmas is a modern Christmas classic. I think it is
Sure.
wonderfully conceived.
Yeah,
It's
we
a
can
story
do
of
it.
Santa's well-meaning but underachieving son who, after a very successful Christmas night, finds out there's one Christmas present that hasn't been delivered and will stop at nothing to get it delivered at the last possible minute, while everyone else debates whether, one Christmas present is worth risking all of Christmas for. And the answer, of course, is yes, because every child matters and every Christmas wish matters. Everything about it is really sweet. Everything about it is well put together. I love the sort of sci-fi world of Santa Claus that Aardman has put together without ever sacrificing the character, the people who lived at the North Pole. I think it's a modern Christmas classic. I think it's S tier all the way. I love it.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, we did a tournament fights last night with a lot of these similar movies, and Arthur Christmas was kind of the little movie that could. I mean, it's one of those movies that when you do actually see it, I think a lot of people overlooked it at the time because they just thought it was another, just kind of, animated Christmas movie. Yeah, but like it's really well done. I love the animation style of it, and I think it's a really nice underdog kind of Christmas movie that more people need to see. And I think once they do, they would also add it to their personal favorites. So I'm going to go S tier also for the little movie that could for Arthur Christmas. I'm down with that.
Yeah, and I think that for me, like Arthur Christmas is great, and like I'm kind of hovering between an A and an S. Like it's a really fun movie. Like it's one when I saw it in theaters, I was really surprised that I didn't really expect much from it. And I really love those type of situations where you go in and kind of not really expecting much, and then you really get blown away by what you see. And yeah, you know what? I'll go ahead and give it an S. It's probably a little bit of a lower S for me, but I'll give it an S. Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, when I watch this movie, I definitely tear up towards the end, and just Bib sitting there talking about it made me tear up. Just thinking about the, just one kid being so special to Arthur, and that's why he deserves to be Santa, not his older brother or whatever. And it's just like also just like the animation in this film, like when they're sitting there, like wrapping the bike like mid riding it. I'm like, this is insane. Looks so cool. And I just love watching this film every time. It's got a stacked voice cast. Definitely S tier. Arthur Christmas.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, we'll leave it right there in the S tier. So
I spot a
Only got
Mark
another
Edward
S.
Hoyk in the chat. Is he able to jump on here with us? I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know if he's capable, but I see a Emmy Hoyk in the chat congratulating Bibbs for giving the rub to Arthur Christmas. So yeah.
Actually,
I don't know if you're
guys are
capable,
welcome
Brad. We'll have you on. Yeah.
Fine, I'll send you the link. Yeah, just let me know.
But anyways,
but in the meantime, we'll throw it over to Chad. I don't know if you're still.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
if you stepped away. Yeah, so you can go ahead and pick
all
one
right,
you want
well,
to talk about.
maybe I'll potentially make Bibbs happy here. That's my goal, right? So this is the one classic Christmas film that I absolutely adore. It's probably my number one. It's the original Miracle on 34th Street.
Oh yeah.
I think this movie, every time I first saw it, this movie just is one of those that definitely brims with Christmas spirit. You have Edmund Gwynn as Santa in this, and he has to actually. I saw it at a dinner theater, a play version of it, and then I had to see the movie. And I just love this story about Santa who doesn't feel like he has to prove anything. He's like, yeah, I'm Santa Claus, but this town's like, the city's like, no, you're not. And he constantly proves it just by who he is and how he carries himself throughout the time of the movie. And I just love the arc of the Walker, the mother and daughter, Susan Walker and her mother, throughout this movie. And he just basically not only gives the gift of presents on Christmas, but he gives the gift of just changing these people, because like the mom, she has to be the way she is because she's like a working woman. She has to be strong and be you know, she's like, oh, you can't have your head in the clouds and all this stuff. And, you know, he's like, no, you can have that and you can be silly. You can love life. You can, you know, there's just a lot of great stuff in this movie. And I think it's a classic. I love it. I would probably put this number one, personally, S tier.
Yeah. Sounds good. Bibbs, what do you think?
I have an odd relationship with this movie. I used to love this movie to pieces. Not that long ago, we did a podcast where we reviewed every single version of this movie because it's been remade a whole bunch of times. There's like one that's unavailable. But what I discovered while watching every different version of this film is I don't think it works that good. I think Edmund Gwenn is a wonderful performance. He won an Oscar for this. He deserved to win an Oscar for this. He's great. But I think when you start picking this movie apart a little bit and you realize that what we're dealing with is someone who may be delusional, may actually be Santa Claus. Either way, he commits acts of violence that are not cool. I don't think Santa should be doing that. And then in the end, we're just sort of basically... He doesn't actually win that court case. He just gives this corrupt politician an opportunity to save face by torpedoing the case. Like, I don't think it really works. I'm not a huge fan. I appreciate why people like it, so I'm going to give it a B, but I'm not as high on this as I used to. I don't think it holds up as well as it used to, but maybe that's just me.
Sure, yeah. Austin, what do you think?
You're not alone in that, Vibs. I'll kind of back you up. I had put off seeing this movie for a long time, and I want to say like 2 years ago or something. I finally I sat down and watched it, and I was like, all right, Miracle on 34th Street, let's go. I'm gonna sit down and watch it, and I was just like, it was fine. It was fine. You know, I was really surprised at how preachy it gets with the religious stuff at the end. Like that threw me off that it was like a Christian movie, which it really kind of put me off.
Movie. I mean, let's be fair here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it's like
too out of nowhere, you know.
Yeah, their logic is airtight about like, oh well, we send we accept letters to the North Pole, so therefore God is real or something. I don't know, but anyways, it's something like that in the movie. And, you know, I thought the best part of the movie was like Natalie Wood. Really, I thought she was really sassy and a lot of fun as the kid. I thought she was great. Edmund Gwenn is really good. He's the one thing that kind of kept me interested. I would kind of agree with sort of, to me, it's like a low B. It just didn't connect, and I've never really had the notion to go back and watch it again because I remember watching this and I watched the Richard Attenborough remake from '94 with Mara Wilson, and I remember being kind of like meh on that too. So I'll go B, but I understand why people find it very charming.
Yeah. Before I give my thoughts, we have our first pinch hitter coming in. We have Richie. Richie Whittaker. Hey,
Richie.
Yeah, so
what's up, Richie?
Pinch hit
Hey,
for
man,
a little bit.
Yeah.
I know you're only able to stay for a little bit, but we're happy to have you. And also Mark said he might try to jump on too. So yeah,
okay.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah. Miracle on 34th Street, I actually love this movie. Like, I think that it's great. Like, I have a lot of fun with it. And also, like, I am Christian, so, like, all that stuff, like, I don't mind that at all. And I don't really find it too preachy because I can kind of see it outside of my own personal, like, religious beliefs to like, see it. Other people might see it as a little preachy, but for me, I don't really see it. And also compared to the 1994 version, like, I think this one's leaps and bounds better. Like, it's a lot more fun and charming, and my ex-wife was another one that showed this to me because we're still great friends, and so she shows me these classic movies all the time, and I really appreciate that because without her, I probably wouldn't have seen a lot of classic movies that I have seen, and I think that it's great. Like for me, like it's right up there with It's a Wonderful Life. I think that it's just a great, like really fun movie that I watch every year now. So yeah, I'll give it an S tier.
Richie, have you seen the original
Richie.
Miracle on 34th Street?
I mean, from our show yesterday to now, I haven't had a chance to watch it in the span of 24 hours. So no, I haven't watched. I haven't watched Miracle on 34th. But yeah, I will get around to it.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. But so we got Got two S's, and then what were the other votes?
And two B's, two S's and two
Okay.
B's. Again, kind of you kind of
So,
split the
probably
difference
A?
down to the A's.
Yeah. We'll just throw it down in the A tier. So, yeah, but who's up next? I'm losing track here.
We kind of jumped around.
Yeah.
We kind of jumped around because Bibbs went, and then we kind of jumped back down to Chad. So I think we'll jump up to me, and we'll kind of start the thing over again. I think a little bit. Okay. All right. So yeah, we kind of jumped around. That's okay. That's all right because we had a few people drop out. It's fine. I got to go with my sentimental favorite that I finally got a chance to see in a theater a couple of years ago with a group of people who love it as much as I do. It's in my tagline here. I got to go with the Christmas Story. I think Christmas Story is just. It's so good. It's there's a reason they, I know some people are just like, really, you play it 24 hours on a Christmas Story? Yeah, I watch a lot of it. I keep it on in the background pretty much all day. There's just so many classic moments. I think the scene where he actually finally gets the BB gun and the dad is kind of laughing and just enjoying his son's triumph, is just one of the coolest kind of Christmassy scenes out there. I think the whole cast is awesome. I may have a bias because I met most of the cast of this at a convention and got pictures with them. But yeah, it's still, I've loved this movie for a long time. I had it on VHS when I was a kid. There's not a whole lot I can add to A Christmas Story that hasn't already been said, but I love it. I think it's S tier.
Yeah. For me, I think just kind of what you said, Christmas Story kind of gets a little overplayed, and I'm trying to not let that weigh into my feeling, but on the movie. But unfortunately, it kind of does, because they just play this movie over and over and over again. It's where I find myself not really wanting to watch it as much as I would have, and it's a great movie, and normally I'd give it an S tier, but I think though even that aside, I don't really find myself returning to it that much. But usually, if someone else were to put it on, I always sit down and watch it. I never really say no to this movie. So I mean, I'll give it a solid A probably. So, Richie.
Yeah, man. On the last one, there's not really a huge thing in Australia. I know it's on TV constantly in America, but it's just you sort of have to in Australia you have to sort of chase it up more. So it hasn't come on my radar, so I have not watched it yet. So again, yeah, I need it's a blind spot, but yeah.
Well, just fly over here for Christmas, then you can turn on a television. You'll see it for 24 hours, and you'll get it.
Right.
For 24 hours straight.
Yeah. Right.
It was a pandemic. I'm like.
Yeah. So I used to watch this a lot as a kid, for sure, and TBS definitely thinks this is a classic for sure. I love a lot of moments in this movie, and I think it's definitely a lot of a great collection of a lot of moments. You can think about this part, and you can the tongue on the pole, and all the bunny pajamas, and there's a lot of iconography in there. I'm just not sure. I haven't sat down and how does this work as an actual movie? So when I was constructing my list, I put it at a solid A, maybe a low to mid A, personally.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, William, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a movie that, I don't know if overplayed is the right word, but when you watch a movie often enough, you start to pick apart little things. You start to, maybe watch it on a level it was never intended to be watched. I think if you just sit down and watch this movie for the first time, or if you can try to just appreciate it on its own level, this is a wonderful film. I got nothing really against this film. I think it's a good blend of nostalgia of looking back at this halcyon era while also admitting it totally sucked. It sucked to be a kid. It sucked to be held to these awful standards. It sucks to be pandered to, and then everyone made fun of you for buying into it. It sucks to have no power or money. It's a really, really funny, sweet film. I liked it a lot. I've seen it a million times, and yeah, I think it's S tier. I'm totally happy keeping it S tier.
Yeah, sounds good. So what are the votes at, Austin?
2 S's and 2 A's, so it's literally on the border. So it may slide in there maybe by default. We'll see how. We'll
That's different
Not a lot of
keep
estimates
it
right
at
now.
the-
But keeping it at the
Yeah,
bottom.
we'll keep it at the bottom, and if it stays in there after a little while, it's fine. It might slide down. We'll see. We'll see how the votes play out. So, but yeah, Jordan, we'll go to you next.
Yeah. So I want to talk about a movie that I'm surprised at this point that even I'll be wanting to talk about, but it's a movie that I just saw for the first time this year, which is it's an older movie, but I was just introduced to it. But I want to talk about Black Christmas. Like I think Black Christmas is really really good. Like when I saw this movie, I was just blown.
And it's from the director of
Away
Christmas
by it.
Story.
Yeah,
yeah,
I know,
yeah.
right?
It's
The other
a
Bob Clark
movie.
Christmas
Yeah.
classic. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so and it's a movie that for years and years I avoided watching it because just all the images. Like I watched the original trailer for it, just seeing the girl with the saran wrap over her face, like it was a really frightening image. And also Black Christmas, like I thought somehow that the movie would ruin my enjoyment of Christmas because it's just putting this dark spin on such a happy time of year. But I mean, it didn't do that at all. Like it was a good time, and one of the first movies that I saw with the serial killers calling from inside the house, like they use the trope for that, and so that like really terrifying. Also the like phone calls, the sounds on the phone too, just really really like frightening
creepy.
sound. Yeah, and like just all around, even the cast had a solid cast with like Olivia Hussey and Margot Kidder, just some of those that I really enjoyed. So yeah, I would give Black Christmas an S for sure. Yeah, I really really enjoyed it. So, Richie.
Before I say this, I want to point out I do watch movies. No,
Sure.
We went through a phase earlier where there was a lot of stuff from the 40s that we had a lot of down in the haven't seen, so it's okay.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
kind of
as you can
embarrassed us.
see.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I watched was it the 2019-18 remake, which is terrible. Which was so bad.
Terrible.
But no, and like the 2006 one, which is it's fine. But yeah, I haven't watched the original, so I need to get around.
Yeah, you definitely do. But Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I watched this for the first time last year, actually, and this is definitely, from what I understand, a highly, highly influential horror movie. I'm not sure exactly how Christmassy it actually is. I mean, are any of the horror movies really, except for maybe Krampus, actually? But
Yeah.
I really did enjoy this one. I don't.
I mean,
think that
it's
I
in the title,
absolutely-
but I mean, I don't think we
I
discount
don't think
that.
I absolutely loved it though. So I need to watch it more. I like that it doesn't really show the killer ever, which is kind of cool. But I would put it in a solid like A.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Black
we have
Christmas.
Marcus Warwick.
Oh, is it? It's me, right?
Welcome.
All right. So Black Christmas is one of the best horror movies ever made. It is really intensely creepy. It's really, really smart. It has a lot of really poignant things to say about abortion rights and feminism. And I'm actually of the opinions that both of the remakes are good. I think the first remake is stupid, like intensely superficial, but very stylish and fun. And I think that the most recent remake is inevitably going to be declared a modern classic once people start actually watching it for what it is instead of what they thought it would be or what they thought it shouldn't be because they hadn't seen the original. Yeah, I think this first one is, the influential movie it is for a reason. It's a brilliant motion picture, and it is totally an S-tier film, regardless of what. I'm trying to think of what a list I wouldn't put this on an S tier of. Maybe the best Thanksgiving movies, I probably wouldn't put it on.
Yeah.
But anything else, I think it belongs in the upper echelon too.
Yeah, well, Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we even had this in the S tier for our 70s horror. I mean, just overall 70s horror. So yeah, I'm definitely down for
That's a
that.
good vector for
Yeah,
horror.
Black Christmas rocks. I had rewatched it right before that show, and just the whole, and it just gets under your skin. Like everything about it, just from the opening stuff with him creeping around, to just the fact that he's just like in the attic, just doing weird stuff, and yeah, that image of the girl with the saran wrap on her face just sticks in your brain. It doesn't leave. I still can't get that image out of my head. Black Christmas is great. It holds up. And yeah, it's S tier, 100%. So yeah, we talked about it to death on our 70s thing. Go back and see it. But yeah, it belongs on this list too. I know Mark was on that show too. I'm sure he agrees. Hey, welcome back, Mark. Thanks for coming. Thanks for dropping in.
Hey, thank you for making room for one more guest at the Christmas table. I even brought my snowman cookie.
Nice.
Hey,
well,
nice.
Well, do you want to give your thoughts on Black Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Real quick?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I don't know if I haven't quite been privy to what everyone has been saying.
That is really
but I can
good.
safely say, of
we're all high on it.
All the Christmas horrors that have come out, I think it is still the strongest. It set a template for so many other movies in its wake. I think it's a testament to Bob Clark that he was able to make this and then do a 180 with A Christmas Story and cover both ends of what the holiday can mean to people. And the fact that there have been 2 remakes. One I really like, one I'm blah about. But, the fact that people keep coming back to it, it means it's potent material. It's like, this is the place to start for scares in the winter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And also we got some love in the chat. Jacob Barber, they just watched Black Christmas for the first time a couple of days ago, and it's great. I don't usually put movies in S tier, but after one watch, but I think this one deserves it. Yeah, for sure. I would agree.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we'll leave it in the S tier, probably at least above A Christmas.
It's gonna slide above A Christmas Story. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. But
all right.
But William, I know you got to leave here in a little bit. Do you want to have one more pick?
Yeah. God, what if I only have one last chance? What do I want to throw?
Well, I mean, what's your heart out? 7:30 or 10 minutes or so?
Well, 4:30 my time.
Oh,
so
30. Okay. Well, how about get at least another even 2 or 3? Get whatever picks you want to cram in there.
Add one to this list.
Yeah.
That I had, didn't seem like it would appeal to me. I didn't watch it for a long time. I finally watched it last year. I love The Holiday.
Yeah.
The Holiday is a delightful motion picture. Everything about it is cute. Nancy Meyers directs it. It's about a woman in L.A. who works in the entertainment industry and a woman in England who lives in a comfy cottage. And they both hate their lives and they want to escape. And so they decide to switch houses for the holidays. And I think one of the best things about The Holiday is that it understands that the holidays are a time for putting aside all your crap. Just put all the work away, put all your personal baggage away, and just appreciate life and the people around you and how magical the world can be. It is a 100% halcyon, sugar-coated movie. Nothing bad exists in this. Like, the worst bad thing that exists in this movie is, like, there's a shitty boyfriend in it. Like, that's it. But everyone else is wonderful. The cast is a delight. Eli Wallach is wonderful in this movie. Jack Black, he was one of my favorite rom-com performances. He is sexy in this film. Like, he's a real treat. Like, he's really, really wonderful. It's romanticized, but in a way that feels 100% genuine. It deserves it because it's a Christmas movie. You get away with a lot that I wouldn't necessarily give every Nancy Meyers movie. But the Christmas background really helps it a lot. So it's sweet, it's romantic, it's escapist, but it's also got some genuine, emotional earnestness to it. It makes me laugh. It makes me cry. It makes me go, aw. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a Holiday S tier. I think it's great. I think it's a modern classic.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
I think Bibbs and I are just kind of vibing today. I would give it probably not the highest S tier. I put it near the kind of the bottom of the S tier, but I would agree with that. And I think I'm low key kind of a Nancy Meyers fan because one of the few rom coms I really enjoy is the earlier one from a few years earlier, Something's Gotta Give with Diane Keaton and Jack Nicholson. I love that movie too. Like I love a lot of those movies, and I think her writing is just really sharp. It's just really charming. Jack Black gives a performance so good that he himself forgot he was in this movie, which we talked about on Tournament Fights last night when he was interviewed. He forgot he was in it, but that's okay because he's great. And Jude Law is he just always brings it, man. Like he's so good. I would low key give it it'd be like a 9 or a 10, out of like a top 10. But yeah, I'll roll with that for the holiday.
Yeah. So for me, like I kind of told this a little bit yesterday on our Tournament Fights, but I was dating this girl at the time where the holiday was one of her favorite movies, and so when we saw it, she was kind of quoting it like throughout the whole time, and it was my first time seeing it, and so I was pretty annoyed by that. I was like really, like you're gonna quote this whole thing, and then at the beginning when Kate Winslet gets really sad when she finds out that her husband's cheating on her, like she was just bawling and like almost kind of like in like a showy way, kind of like just felt kind of weird, and so I mean. Kind of ruined my enjoyment of the film a little bit, but I still really like this movie. It was a lot of fun. And it's a really solid dramatic performance from Jack Black too. But pretty much all the performances all the way around. So I would give it probably a solid A. I probably wouldn't go S tier, but I'd say A. So, Mark,
have you seen The Holiday?
Unfortunately, I have not yet seen The Holiday, so I can't chime in, but it's something that I've definitely been looking forward to catching up with because I love everybody in it. I think Nancy Meyers is underappreciated in terms of her gift in her specific genre. That she's done really well in depicting romance, especially amongst people who aren't in their 20s. That they're moving into maturity, but they still have wants, needs, and things that turn them on. And so I have high hopes for The Holiday, but I can't give it a score at this time.
Sure, yeah, fair enough. Richie,
have you seen it?
What do you think?
Yeah. This movie is really sweet. It's a great movie. Probably Cameron Diaz's best performance. One of the Cameron Diaz's best performance as well. And I do wish. It's cool little I wish Jack Black would do more maybe comedy drama and stuff, because when he does sort of delves into comedy drama or just drama, he crushes it. Holiday and Bernie, he's really good in. I don't know if I'd put it S tier, but definitely probably A. But yeah, it's a really good movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds good. Chad, what do you think?
I haven't seen it. I started it the other night. I've been meaning to watch this movie for a long time, and then I prioritized Silent Night, Deadly Night, and the other one. Another one that has yet to be mentioned. But I am going to go back. Because if this movie's getting S tiers, hell yeah, I'm gonna check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, it's another one like Christmas Story. That's right on the border. So we'll see kind of where it ends up. We'll leave it there. Bibbs, one more before you have to go. You got about 5 minutes.
I would love to chime in Bishop's Wife, but I suspect I'm the only one here except maybe Mark who's seen it. Is that the case? We have one more.
The Bishop's Wife. Mark, have you seen The Bishop's Wife?
It's a brilliant movie.
Unfortunately, I have not seen The Bishop's Wife, but
Mark?
That's on my list for this year.
I'm going
to fix that.
I'm just going to let it go.
Okay, let it go.
And I will pick instead. I hope this is a headshot. This is one of my favorite Christmas movies, and by extension, one of my favorite movies. The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of good versions of the Christmas Carol out there, and I can think at least 2 or 3 of them probably belong in the S tier. But for me, The Muppet Christmas Carol is wonderful because it manages to be a really straightforward, old-fashioned, just really dignified version of A Christmas Carol. I think Michael Caine is giving 110% to this movie and really giving a very sweet performance here. While it's also about Muppets, and the Muppets are kind of taking the piss out of it a little bit, but even the Muppets know that this story deserves a little reverence. And I think you can find some real pathos with Kermit and Miss Piggy and Robin. I think you can find some really wonderfully sad bits with everything Michael Caine is doing. But also Gonzo and Rizzo are hilarious, and Fozzie is hilarious, and everyone's really cute. I think they did a wonderful job of making this feel like a proper period piece, like it looks like it had some money in it, while also still feeling like perfect Muppet theater. So I love this movie to pieces. It gives me everything I want from a Christmas film. And yeah, that's my S tier pick.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
Austin, what do you think?
I think if we're going to get one of the Christmas Carol movies in the S tier, I go back to the Muppet Christmas Carol more than pretty much all of them. And mainly it's because of Michael Caine. I think he's giving an S level performance for this. What amounts to he's acting against Muppets, but he's giving it, like he's going for an Oscar. I mean, he's great. And the fact that Kermit actually lends himself to being a perfect Bob Cratchit, just the way his personality is, it just works. So, I mean, the fact that they made this thing work as well as it does, and, just rolling with the fact that, it's humans and Muppets kind of living together, but, it doesn't need to be called out or whatever. It just is. And this movie's great. I'll go S tier for Muppet Christmas Carol. I think it's one of the best versions of that out there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the Muppet Christmas Carol is actually my favorite version of A Christmas Carol. Like I love the Muppet Christmas Carol. I'll probably watch it every single Christmas, and just Michael Caine. Yeah, like he's given a really great performance, and kind of like you said, Austin, Kermit as Bob Cratchit's really, really good. And then even just having a little bit of humor thrown in there from like Gonzo and Rizzo, like I actually think that's fun and kind of charming too. So I have a great time with it, and I go back to it a lot. So I'd say S tier all the way for Muppet Christmas Carol. Yeah. Mark, what do you think?
Mark?
Okay, I'm gonna be showing my red and green butt again as I reveal that I have not yet seen Muppet Christmas Carol.
Okay.
Oh.
But I am gonna throw in for this, which is that an important footnote. Muppet Christmas Carol was kind of the return of Paul Williams to writing songs for the Muppet characters, and this was coming off of like a long spell of when first he had was dealing with personal problems, and then after those were settled, trying to get back into regularly working. And I had the privilege of sitting in on a Q&A with him where he's talking about how he got the assignment, and he's been out of practice for a while, and then he just starts hearing it and writes the first song about Scrooge, and then everything comes into play from there. It demonstrates how important Paul Williams has been to the legacy of the Muppets. So with that in mind, this is something that I am looking forward to my first time viewing of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Richie.
It definitely belongs in S tier. It's not only one of the best Christmas Carol adaptations, it's one of the better Muppet movies. So yeah, S tier.
Yeah.
Chad?
What do you think?
Yeah, this is my favorite version of A Christmas Carol as well. And it's hilarious. It's got like amazing songs. It's just a fun watch every single time. And then amongst Muppets, Michael Caine is giving like an Academy Award level performance in this. And I'm like, oh my God, like getting emotional every single time just watching his performance. And it's in a Muppet movie, and no disrespect to Muppet movies, but like just this one I think is my favorite for sure. S tier.
Yeah, well, it's unanimous S tier for everyone that
it's going to roll up there even higher than Black Christmas. It's going to be in the top 3 right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yay.
throw it
Yeah,
there
somewhere
for
around
now.
there. Yay.
All right.
Yeah,
here's
well,
something
Bibbs, I know you got a heart out. Plug away, sir. Where can we find you?
Oh, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Everybody, I got the Critically Acclaimed Network is a podcast network that I co-host with Whitney Seibold. You can find that on Apple Podcasts. You can find that on Spotify. We review new movies. We review old TV shows. We review old movies. We have a Patreon where we review every single episode of Star Trek in production order. We are reviewing every single film ever nominated for Best Picture. A lot of cool stuff going on there. I don't have time to list it all, but it's a lot. Also, if you are looking for something for the holidays, looking for some stocking stuffers, I run with my partner, M. Lopez da Silva. We have a soap store. We make handcrafted soaps.
Yeah.
And you can head on over to Salt Cat Soap on Etsy. We're also on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Just look for Salt Cat Soap, all one word. We'll give you links to the store. We have a sale on a few items for Christmas, but there's a lot of cool stuff, and we're going to be debuting a few Christmas-themed items on Saturday, in addition to the Christmas-themed items we currently have. And, of course, that's on top of all the other products we have. We have lotions, bath salts, stickers, and a plethora of soap. So thank you, everybody who's already checked that out. We've got really good reviews.
I'll be there Saturday because I need some Christmas gifts. So
please check it out. We really love it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
William, we always appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
care.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye,
thank
man.
you. We'll
All
see
right.
you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, man.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right. So, whose turn was it? We're kind of jumping around.
Well, it's mine. I think it's mine now.
Okay.
So we'll swing around and we'll let Mark and Richard get a pick as well before we kind of start wrapping things up. Oh man, I forgot to even look at the list real quick. While I was writing all that down. Sorry about that. I'll tell you what. It's not going to make S tier, but I'm going to shoot my shot for A tier on Jingle All the Way. I know it's stupid, but I love Jingle All the Way. Listen. It's silly, it's nonsensical, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it makes me giggle so much. It's just
and it's turbo time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for slapstick comedy. I think Phil Hartman's actually genuinely given a really fun performance. Like, he's genuinely hilarious in this movie.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Phil Hartman. Just so brilliant. I think it kind of loses its way in the third act with, I think the rocket stuff goes on just a little too long, which is why it kind of slides out. Like, I like the first hour more than I like the last half an hour. So that's why it would go in like an A tier for me. But I still really like it. I just find it really charming and a nice little jab at the consumerism of the 90s, because obviously this movie doesn't work today, but if you put yourself back in the mindset of the early mid 90s, it works. So I'm gonna go A tier. I'm sure I'll get roasted for it, but I really love this movie. I can't help it.
Yeah. Well, say A tier. We'll throw it there, but yeah, Jingle All the Way is a lot of fun, and I think that's a perfect spot for it, right in the A tier. Like, I think that
because I can't justify putting it right up there with like A Christmas Story and Black Christmas to me, even personally, as much as I love it. I can't do that. Like,
silly up there.
Yeah, it looks a little silly, out of place, just a little bit.
Yeah, but for me, I'll watch any Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, even the bad ones. I think are still a lot of fun, and I mean, even Sinbad's performance, like, I had fun with that, and then just like all the crazy things Phil Hartman does. These cookies are so good, like, like it's just like always a good time, and like just kind of seeing him on this journey and everything he has to go through to get this toy for his son, and then when his son gets the toy, he just gives it away after all that. It's like really, but still sweet, and it's still a fun time. It's got some good comedy. So yeah, I think A is a perfect spot. I'll go A. Mark,
right.
What do you think?
Have you seen Jingle All the Way?
Okay, this one I have seen finally. Okay. I'm giving this one a B. I think there's parts of it that are super effective for me. I think this is probably one of the best comedy roles that Schwarzenegger has ever had, because he figured out early on that being a large individual is good for laughs as well as being intimidating. Just kind of always being Gulliver in a world of Lilliputians, and this one kind of just shows how even someone as massive as him is no match for the mania that happens during Christmas, and especially with the fact that his, the person he really has to worry about is not Sinbad, it's Robert Conrad as that traffic cop who keeps coming after him, because you're thinking, how many people are there that can scare Schwarzenegger? And it's him. So that's savvy casting. I think that there's a lot of parts that are terrific. I don't think it adds up to a whole. It's one of those things where there's an old anecdote of Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner when they were writing for Sid Caesar's Your Show of Shows. I mean, these are the funniest people in the world, but when they would write a sketch and they'd submit it, and then every so often Sid would come in and he would just lift up their desk and slam it down and scream, "Funnier!" and walk out. And it feels like they kind of went in with maybe a second draft, because, all right, everybody's available, we got to go now. But they should have just, gone and really polished it up, because everybody's on point. Schwarzenegger, Phil Hartman, Sinbad. There's good set pieces, but it needed more. So I can't go above a B, but it's a good-natured B.
Yeah. Sounds good. Richie, what do you think?
Yeah, I really love this movie. I probably would have been my pick. Came back to me. This movie gets a lot of flack. I don't know why. I tried to see it from their perspective, but I don't get the kind of hate for it. Phil Hartman's really great as the villain. Everybody like crushes it here. I think I sort of joked in the other shows. I think that the real villain in this movie is Jamie, because he's you finally they get to the parade. Arnold Schwarzenegger is Turbo Man, and he goes through all the stuff to give him the Turbo Man doll. He gives him the Turbo Man doll, and then what does Jamie do? He gives it away. I'm like, after all that, you just go, no, fuck you. I'm gonna give the doll away. Fuck you. No, but this movie is really fun, really challenging. It's one I always go to at Christmas time. I would put it at A.
Yeah. Well, Chad?
Yeah. So I'm pretty much exactly 1 year younger than Jake Lloyd. So watching this in the theater, I was that age, but 1 year younger, with my dad in the theater. So it was kind of like the perfect scenario for me. I think Hoyk might be right on the money with where this probably is realistically, but my nostalgia definitely made me prop this up to an A for my personal list. I agree with Austin. I love this movie. I watch it every year. It's so fun, but I don't think I would still even put it at an S. But, it's a very high A for me.
Yeah. So what kind of feels like the consensus is an A? So we'll just
It's an A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's solid A, so we'll leave it there. But Chad, I know you got to run. Do you want to have one last pick before you go?
Sure. Let me do it. I have three I was juggling around in my head, and this may be a wasted pick depending on, because this is the most hotly debated movie every freaking year around Christmas time. But it's one of my favorites, and I think it's absolutely a Christmas movie. I watch it every single year. It's a staple, and it's Die Hard. I don't think Die Hard is absolutely a movie that you have to watch every year around Christmas. It's just so great that you can watch it any old time. But I think for me, it's just that much more special around Christmas time, because it does have kind of all the bells and the whistles, the Christmas music, the Christmas hat. I have a shirt that says, I have a machine gun now, ho ho ho.
Nice.
And you know, it's really at the crux of it. It's about family and family coming together. And I've said this before. I think that's one of the biggest things about Christmas for me, and I think that's why, at the crux of it, I feel like it is a Christmas movie, and I'll throw it to y'all.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin, what do you
S
think?
tier,
for
by the
Die
way,
Hard?
S tier.
Yeah.
No, Die Hard, is an S tier. I have my shirt on. This is Die Hard's my favorite Christmas movie. Looking like an ugly
Nice.
sweater. I don't know if it's like my overall favorite, but yeah, it's pretty high up there. I mean, it's definitely the best Christmas action movie you could possibly have. Die Hard's just great. I mean, every movie out there has ripped it off as far as the one guy who's all alone, trying to survive, trying to make a difference. We've all heard the expression, die hard on a plane, die hard on a train, die hard on a boat. It's the reason we say all that is because Die Hard is the gold standard, of the lone guy just trying to be the hero and the reluctant hero at that. That's what makes the movie stand out is he's not macho Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's not, big buff guy dominating everybody. He gets hurt. He struggles, he doesn't want to be the hero. He's doing everything he can to get out of the situation. But that's what makes it great. Die Hard is an S tier. It's awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So Die Hard rocks. Like Die Hard is an awesome movie, and kind of like Chad said, it's a movie you can watch pretty much any time. It's always going to be great, but it kind of makes it feel more special during Christmas time. So it's just more fun to watch it during Christmas. And there's not too much more that I can say that hasn't already been said about Die Hard. Like, it's just one of the best action movies ever made. In my opinion, I think John McClane is the best action star ever put to screen, in my opinion. So it's an easy S for me. So Mark, what do you think?
Oh, is it to me?
Yeah,
Mark. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Absolute S tier on this one. It's like if we're just going to focus on the Christmas aspects of this, let alone the fact that it is just an absolute corker of an action movie. Like, as much as I love the fact that it has become a Christmas perennial, I'm a little frustrated at the fact that people have forgotten this movie opened in June of 1987, and consequently, nobody ever screens it at any other time of the year anymore. It's just like, no, this is perfect any day of the year. But just to focus on why it is a great Christmas movie. Somebody on Twitter observed the fact that Shane Black must be frustrated at the fact that he's written so many action movies at Christmas. Plus, he worked with John McTiernan on Predator as an actor, and yet it's Die Hard that has become the perennial action Christmas movie. But everybody gets caught up in all of the explosions and the gunfire and the one-liners, but I defy you in that moment where he's in the bathroom and he is talking to Reginald Vell Johnson and he doesn't think he's worried that he's not going to make it, and he's saying I am tearing up as I talk about it. He's saying he's heard me say I love you a dozen times. She's never heard me say I'm sorry. That it's Christmas is a holiday where we learn to appreciate what we've had in our lives, and what better redemption story is there than someone recognizing what is most important to them on the most wonderful day of the year.
So sweet.
So
Die Hard can still make grown men cry. That's a sign of a great movie right there. That's right.
A great movie.
That's a great movie.
That's some great action, humor, some sweet moments, all of it. So
Richie?
And some Christmassy.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's no Die Hard 2, but no, I'm just checking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a whole joke from last night.
No, this is like, I don't know how I'm looking at it. This is fantastic. It should be on S tier. I guess there's probably more the tippity top that's more Christmassy, so it probably shouldn't be at the tippity top, but it definitely is S tier. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
well,
with the votes we got,
right I think so, probably.
Well, I mean, those other movies had clean sweeps too, so we'll decide the order later.
Okay,
we'll figure that out. Yeah. Those actually those top four all had clean sweeps actually. So yeah, we'll decide that later.
Yeah, well, Chad, I know you got to run, but do you have anything you want to plug real quick before you
Yeah,
go?
unfortunately, I wish I could hang because I love talking Christmas, but I definitely got to dip. But yeah, I want to plug a couple things. I have my show that I do with my buddy Dill. It's the Dill Pickle Movie Network. We do a show called Picture This. We basically go every month. We go to a year of the Oscars, and we go to the Best Picture nominees. We watch all of them. We rank them. We talk about them. We talk about actors and actresses from each year, or from that year. And we have a lot of fun doing that. We talk about the history of the year, and we also basically we're doing this month for December. We're doing 1947 because it has one of my favorite movies, Miracle on 34th Street, and The Bishop's Wife. And so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Check it out later. And I'm doing a lot of movie battlegrounds. I'm gonna do another match soon. Austin and I had a pretty great match. Check that out at one point.
Yeah.
That was very fun. And I'm doing trivia as well over at TMG and everywhere else. So thank you guys for having me. This was a lot of fun. I hope you guys have some great discussions after I leave.
All right. Thanks, Chad.
Thanks for coming on.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah. Merry Christmas. We'll see you.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Well, Jordan, why don't you get a pick? Then we'll let Richie and Mark both get a pick before we kind of start kind of wrapping things up and get into our speed round there. So let those guys get a regular pick as well. Jordan, why don't you get another quick pick, and then we'll go down and get our other two guests a quick pick. All right.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about a movie that I'm pretty sure that people probably might not agree with me, but I have a lot of love for this movie. You might kind of agree. I just don't think you're gonna rate it as high as I'm gonna rate it. But I want to go with The Night Before. Like I'm a huge fan, and I feel like I want to get another solid comedy on here. So let's see, The Night Before. And also, I used to have this poster hanging up behind me here because I just really liked it. How the stained glass looked, and I used to work at a movie theater when this movie came out, so I got the one sheet poster for free. So that was fun. But this movie just cracks me up every single time. I think that the chemistry with Seth Rogen, Anthony Mackie, and I'm gonna brain fart on
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, the three of them just like really, really good. And then also like just seeing Seth Rogen when he gets his Christmas gift from his wife, and he's like, "What is this?" He's like, "It's every drug ever made," or something like that. And it's like this. So like spends the whole entire night in this drug induced kind of thing, just having this crazy just one night journey, having this drug trip. And then also Michael Shannon too as Mr. Green is just really, really good. He just cracks me up every single time. And yeah, like all little nuances too, just like the fact that Seth Rogen's actually Jewish, so there's all the little Jewish references. Like he points to his sweater, and then he sees like a table of like rabbis, and he gives him like a little nod or something. There's just some good stuff in there. So I'd give it an S tier, but I'm sure I'm probably a little higher than most people. So we'll see what you guys think. But we'll go to Mark.
I will give this a low A tier. Not because I don't think it's funny. I think it is very funny. I just think it hasn't had enough time to prove itself as a perennial just yet. There is definitely a lot of wonderful stuff in here. Great funny set pieces. Also, its theme of inclusion. The fact that not everybody adheres to a Christian ethic, and that can be a difficult thing during such a domineering holiday as Christmas, even though so much of it has been secularized. And, as a Catholic, I think for the better that it's been secularized, because it's a political holiday, not necessarily, or it's better as a political holiday than a religious holiday, because there were lots of spiritual leaders, in the Old Testament, but baby Jesus was like the Clash. He was the only one that mattered. So, yeah, where are you going to get that comparison elsewhere on the web? That this is a time that ultimately it is about friends looking out for each other and doing wild things, but still having each other's back. And I like the fact that there's really no antagonist in here. Like, let's have some praise for Jillian Bell. Like, Jillian Bell is a very funny woman, and most of the time she's asked to play intimidating and adversarial characters, and she's this wonderful, supportive wife to Seth Rogen, and that they both like to chemically imbibe. And when he shows up, in Cloud Cuckoo Land during midnight mass, she's not like, you're embarrassing me in front of the family. It's like, dude, you're tripping. You need to chill. Go outside. Take a walk. That everything is so supportive during this, and because the origin of how these characters got together is built in sadness and loss, and what's not to love about that. So but again, I'm giving it an A simply because it hasn't had time to mature.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, this movie's great. I don't know how to look at. I'd probably put it at A as well. I don't know if it's quite S. I'd put it A, but and also shout out to Michael Shannon's really fucking funny in this movie. He's just the best. I think but yeah, it's one of those movies I think like Mark said, I think over time you will more appreciate it more as a great Christmas movie. But but definitely, it definitely deserves to be I talked about it as like a great tier Christmas movie. So yeah, A is a good spot for it.
Yeah, we're getting some love in the comment section here too. Just Steven Shepard. So that would give it an S tier. Michael Shannon totally stole the movie. He's usually a super intense presence who knew he could be so funny. Right. I would agree with that for sure. But Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm in the A crowd as well too. I really enjoyed it in theaters. I have it on Blu-ray. I whip it out, about every other Christmas or so and watch it. It makes me laugh. It's a great One Crazy Night movie, which I always enjoy. But yeah, I think it needs a little more time to marinate, in pop culture before I can put it in sort of a top 10 list. Because there's a few other comedies I think on the list we haven't talked about yet that probably need to go up there before The Night Before. Just being honest. But yeah, I'll go A. Yeah, it's really good.
Well, I think probably that it might end up kind of near the top of A, kind of. I mean,
it's sort of right now according to my scores. Yeah, because some of these other ones had low scores. The ones that are in the top of A that were boosted by S. We'll go back over that.
They're pretty high too. So yeah, we'll come back to it, but.
Hey, Mark, you want to talk about a Christmas movie?
I would love to.
Basically, I know you weren't in our chats or anything, but basically any mainstream Christmas movie is probably on this list. It was very lengthy, so if you just name a movie, it's probably on here, most likely.
Well, this one's it's kind of tough because as we saw at the top of my entrance, I'm behind on some of the classics. And in turn, I have a few deep cuts that I don't think everybody else here might know. So I'm saving those for the speed round. But okay, we saw me almost descend into a puddle of tears a few minutes ago. So I'm just going to continue the trend. I am going to go S tier on Love Actually. I just adore this damn movie, and I think what is genius about it is that Richard Curtis always has known how to do great love stories because he had done Four Weddings and a Funeral and Notting Hill before this. And what he figured out is that so many different ways and that we express love or feel love or get caught up in it exist, and not all of them can sustain a movie. Like some of the plot threads in this movie could exist on their own in another film, but that when you smush them all together, they become this beautiful microcosm of humanity. And also, he understands the fact that some of these resolve happily, some of them don't. Some of them don't even resolve. That it's just something you got to live with all the way through. Just so many terrific people in here. And some of them working against type. Like, remember when Liam Neeson was, this kind individual when he wasn't killing people in every movie? The dynamic between him and his adopted son. Damn, I love that. The dynamic between Bill Nighy and his best friend. There's so many wonderful stories going on at any given time. And also, I love personally, I love the fact that it reclaims one of my favorite Christmas songs from the movie that it was first featured in, where, it's not that good of a movie, and puts it into a better movie. And that is All Alone on Christmas by Darlene Love, which was written by Paul Schaefer and was originally in Home Alone 2. And, Home Alone 2 is fine, but here it really has, poignance because, nobody should have to be all alone on Christmas. And here's a whole bunch of people trying to take care of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Richie, what do you think for Love Actually?
Man, I don't want to get a huge fan of Mark. I'm going to get off on the wrong foot here. I said on the last show that I'm not going to lie. I think I just don't get the hype for Love Actually. I really appreciate that, like, it's a more realistic sort of interpretation of love, and that not everything works out and stuff like that. But I think that maybe it's the case of the same with same with Elf. I'm glad I wasn't around here with Elf, because it wouldn't be because maybe I just came into it like people were just raving about it. And by the time I got to it, I was just like, I just I don't know if it just didn't connect with me as much as other people. I was just a bit meh to it all. I don't think it's like terrible or anything like that. But I don't know. I don't think it's like I don't gush about it as much as other people. I would put it maybe B, to be honest. But
yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
I'm always torn every time I watch Love Actually, because it feels like, Mark, it's like watching an anthology movie, but it's not like Creepshow. It's just like a Christmas romance anthology movie or something that's like bouncing all over the place. Like, I almost wish they were kind of separated instead of bouncing back and forth. Like, I think it, I always want to go back, to certain segments over others. I think the Emma Thompson stuff like breaks my heart every time. Like when she is, is not feeling appreciated, all that stuff. Her little storyline. The Hugh Grant stuff is fun. The Andrew Lincoln stuff is cute, when he's got the little cue cards and stuff. I mean, the movie's cute. I don't know if it's like a classic in my book, so I would probably give it like a strong B. But I do enjoy it. But I feel like it's one of those movies you're either kind of gonna love it or hate it. But I'm like right in the middle though. I don't hate it. I like certain segments over others.
Yeah, and for me, like this movie, like I rank it pretty high, and you forget how many really great actors are in this movie. Like, it's a really stacked cast. Like, the list goes on and on. I mean, I could sit here and just list all of them that you guys said, but like Liam Neeson, Alan Rickman, Colin Firth, Hugh Grant, Keira Knightley, Emma Thompson, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Rowan Atkinson. Like the list just goes on and on and on. And so it's a really fun cast. And one of my favorite scenes is when Alan Rickman's character is going to get his gift wrapped, and you have Rowan Atkinson there doing all the crazy things with all the gift wrapped and stuff. Get a kind of little semblance of like Mr. Bean kind of in there, and then just all the different storylines kind of like were a lot of fun. I do kind of wish, like Austin said, that they're a little more kind of coherent, kind of more like put together maybe into one, like they connected a little better. But still, I mean, that's just a very minor nitpick for me. I think for Love Actually, I'd give it a solid A from me. So. Right.
All right.
But,
well, it'll end up in A
what about
tier
that?
because it's a S and A and two Bs. So yeah, the S kind of brings it up at least and keeps it in A tier. So
Yeah,
I don't know where we'll figure out where it kind of ends up after that. Mark, you want another quick pick, and then we'll give Richie 2 picks as well, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with the speed round. So just because we had so many people dropping out, we didn't get a chance to swing all the way around a lot. So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, damn.
Let's see. Yeah, give me a minute to think about it. I'll do the slow scroll for you.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I mean, we have such a stacked list to begin with, and
like I said, everything's on there. So just name it. It's probably there somewhere. Yeah.
It's both what's there and what I've seen and what I think has a chance of being corroborated by the panel. Well, I think for A tier, I'm gonna throw in Babes in Toyland with Laurel and Hardy. Because this was a big tradition.
Well, can I give you a hint, Mark? I don't think this. I think this was going to end up in the haven't seen because it came up on Tournament Fights last night, our other show, and like nobody had seen
okay.
it. So,
all right, then I will.
No, give it a recommend. I mean, you can give it a recommendation. Like, go ahead.
Well, no, let's. Well, you know what? I mean, I want to throw in something that I think we can actually get some discussion around. So, how about this? Let me withdraw that. Let me throw in Gremlins for A tier.
It's already in there.
Is it?
It's already in there. Oh yeah, it made A tier.
Yeah, it's already there.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
right there.
bloody.
There you go. we agreed with you, Mark. We saw it coming. It had a clean sweep with six A tier votes. So it's a solid A. Oh yeah.
I'm getting snowed.
Keep going. Yeah.
It's all right, man.
Well,
keep going.
Okay.
Find one. Yeah.
Well, let's go back to the main. Let's go back to the main chart because I have the list written down elsewhere. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. This is what's been talked about.
All right. Well then. Let's talk about The Nightmare Before Christmas, because you know what? Everybody loves this movie at Halloween because it's about Halloween Town, but too many people forget the fact that it is still a Christmas movie, and it is about something as seemingly mundane as even monsters need love too. What is it? It's Jack Skellington being good at what he does, but feeling like there's something missing from it, and the fact that he discovers a holiday where it's all about bringing joy, and he doesn't realize that he's bringing joy through scaring because Halloween Town is all about being scared, and so he's had nothing to measure that against, and the fact that it shows that the two things are compatible. That dare I say it, like the goth and the sweater crowd should be friends.
Right. Yeah. So did you give it an A tier or an S tier? I can't remember.
I'm gonna give it A tier simply because I think it's proven itself as almost an S-level classic, but I feel like it's not our panel has just not seen all of the the bona fide Christmas classics, but it feels a little weird to front load the S tier with movies from the 80s and beyond. But so I'm trying to keep the balance going.
Yeah. Well, sounds good.
But if you want to put it
Richie.
in S tier, I won't object.
Sure, yeah. We'll see what the rest of us think. Richie.
Yeah, I think AC is a good spot for it. I think it's really good. I just wouldn't. It's not one that I go back to all the time, but it's really it is a real fun movie, and so I have no problem with it being A tier. Yeah, I don't know much more to add.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, this movie used to be more like a B or C tier for me, but it's kind of slowly crept up into my psyche into A tier because I'm not huge on musicals, but I've grown to really love the music, especially around this time of year. I find myself listening to What's This a lot around Christmas time. It's just a fun Christmas song, and I just appreciate the creature designs as a horror fan. I think just the animation is really, really nice and fun, and I like the fact that it's when somebody asks you, is Nightmare Before Christmas a Christmas movie or Halloween movie? The correct answer is yes. That's just the correct answer. So, I'll go A tier. It's really crept up in there for me into like an A movie, instead of like a B movie.
Well, if you watched the show from last night where we did tournament fights, I had some fun trying to prove that it actually wasn't a Christmas movie. But I will say though that was just me having fun. I do actually consider it a Christmas movie. I think it's kind of more of a Halloween movie, but it's both though. Literally has Santa Claus in there, and that and also you have Jack learning how to appreciate Christmas after discovering it for the first time and just falling in love with the Christmas season and everything, and really having a big change of heart. And so I think that's a pretty cool thing in the movie. And the music's great. I get a little I don't like all the obsession over it so much to where people will watch this movie over and over and over, and then people get tattoos of it. They have all this Nightmare Before Christmas stuff everywhere. I mean, it's fine. I mean, to each their own. I mean, you like what you like, and that's totally cool. But for me, I don't like it being oversaturated with anything too much because it kind of diminishes the my enjoyment just a slight little bit. But I mean, that aside though, I think that the Nightmare Before Christmas is a great movie and it's a lot of fun, and the animation style is really, really great, and it's probably one of the best Tim Burton movies that's out there, even though he didn't technically direct it. He had a heavy hand in it. So I'll give it probably a solid A, what I would say. So
all right. Well, A's across the board, kind of just like Gremlins.
A's across the board, right. Perfect.
Now, Richie, you want to do two real quick pick twos before we go kind of to our Hail Mary speed round? Just really quick, and we'll get some quick thoughts around.
No worries.
Let's pick some movies here instead of just commenting.
I'll do a couple. Couple picks. I'm going to pick. I'll go. There's not a lot of R-rated comedies. I'm going to put Bad Santa. Bad Santa. To me, Bad Santa is to me. I'll put it at A. I think it's and it's a really solid comedy. Not a solid. Not one that you, especially around the time that it really came out at the time. Billy Bob Thornton's really good in it. About a guy who's just very sort of kind of misanthropic guy. Doesn't really want to deal with any of he gets taught to kind of have a bit of heart, and has to be kind of encouraged to kind of be like show like kind of show emotion, or have like sort of have like kind of show this sort of shred this sort of like sort of toxic masculinity, I guess, and just show emotion and have this and with this like sort of unlikely connection with this this kid the Thurman Merman, and it's like it's pretty funny. It's really funny, and it's a great performance all around. R.I.P. John Ritter. He's really good in it. Bernie Mac, really good in it. It's one I go back to. Less said about the sequel, the better, but I would say, it's not. It'd be hard to get put an S tier, but I think it is solid A. But yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
Richie, I would go S tier for Bad Santa. I love Bad Santa, and maybe it's the whole thing that I sort of put myself. I wish I could role play as Billy Bob Thornton in this movie and be able to berate children and people the way he does, because I work in retail and I can't. I have to hold back, and the fact that he has the balls to treat people the way he does and to make the comments that he does, maybe I'm just living vicariously through his character. I feel the same way about that movie Bad Words with Jason Bateman, just being able to kind of do that. But like I think this stuff is great. I think his chemistry with both the Thurman Merman kid and Tony Cox is fantastic. Like Tony Cox really steals the show for me. He's really great. Finally given a chance to really showcase his talent. So I would actually bump it a little up into S tier. It wouldn't be like a high S tier, but I'd bump it up in there for Bad Santa.
Yeah. And I also love Bad Santa. I think Bad Santa is great. Like like all the comedy just really hits like super hard with me. Like it just makes me laugh really, really a lot. And just the way Billy Bob Thornton delivers all his lines, how he's just so annoyed with like the world around him, and he just wants to kind of just do whatever he wants, like whatever he wants when he wants, and he doesn't care about the consequences. And just. Like how he's so bold to just say all these off the wall things. Like it's just a lot of fun, and also kind of like you said his interaction with Thurman Merman. Like I mean, let's face it. I think everyone has a Thurman Merman in their life at some point. Like we all have that. And one person just annoys the hell out of us, and like we all have it. So so that's kind of fun, and then also seeing Bernie Mac there too, like rest in peace to Bernie Mac too. Also John Ritter. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'd give it an S tier. So, Mark, what do you think?
I'll make some sandwiches. I'll a definite A tier for this. That this is a lump of coal that is a diamond. It's it is just so nastily hilarious in here. It's very hard to do comedy where there is almost no likable person in there. It's not that necessarily people have to be likable, but if they're going to be, they have to be nasty but interesting and funny. Sometimes you just have nasty and that gets boring after a while, and it's just, and it also has to have a level of catharsis in terms of who they're being nasty to, and it's just Billy Bob is like right up there with like Basil Fawlty and Lenny Henry in Chef as just someone who will openly rage on the public and not care. That much like Sesame Street acknowledged that you need somebody like Oscar the Grouch there so that people understand that not everybody is happy all the time. You need to have a nasty Christmas movie on the list, and there's the one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
For sure.
But well, we got 2 S's and 2 A's.
But 2 and 2 A's. That's the same as A Christmas Story and The Holiday, really. So it's kind of on that border again. That's the night before.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm just
That's it. It was down there.
Well, I'm in auto mode, yeah. but anyway,
it's all good. One more
so-
really quick pick, Richie. Maybe 30 seconds a pop for all of us, and then we're gonna start wrapping it up with our speed round. So, one more really
All
quick
right.
one.
I won't go into full detail, but like I think it needs to be mentioned. It's one I go back to all the time. I will bring up Christmas Vacation. I think it's
like someone's got
definitely one of the best third movies in a franchise. Like going into it, no one expected it to be that this funny.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I would put it at S tier. No one expected it to be this funny. It's just to me, it's fantastic. Chevy Chase is really just it just at its best. This sort of the bumbling sort of idiot, but Randy Quaid is the peak, the sort of Randy Quaid when he didn't go up the I think it still holds up. I watched it like the other day. So Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, for sure. Austin?
Yeah, it was just one that we were kind of delaying the inevitable because we all just knew like Christmas Vacation is awesome. Like, I mean, I'll keep it very, very short and just say, yeah, it's a pretty easy S tier. It's really grown in my estimation over the years. And yeah, Randy Quaid just absolutely steals everything he's in, even more so than the original Vacation. Like, he's even better here. He's even more comfortable in the role. And just the whole family dynamic is great. Just so many awesome moments. No, S tier.
Yeah, like this is a movie that I have so much love for that I could quote from beginning to end. Like when Cousin Eddie shows up and he's like, "That there's an RV, but don't you go fall in love with it because we're taking it with us when we leave next month." And he spits out his drink and he's like, "Gee, Eddie, I couldn't be more surprised if I woke up tomorrow morning with my head sewn to the carpet." It's just like, okay, just like so many great lines. And then also, I also want to give a shout out to Mae Kestel playing Aunt Bethany. Like, is this the airport clock? Is Rusty still in the Navy? It isn't every day someone moves into a new house. Like, just like all those great lines. So yeah, like it's one of my favorite Christmas movies, but it's probably one of the few movies that I would even watch outside of Christmas. Like, it's just that good. It makes me laugh so hard. And also, I have a lot of connection with some of my friends. This is one that I would watch with a couple of my friends, and we would quote it all the time. So yeah, I would say S tier for sure for Christmas Vacation.
Mark, what do you think?
We'll see.
I don't enjoy being a Grinch on this, but I can't give it more than an A.
Okay.
There's
pretty good.
Again, much like Jingle All the Way, there's set pieces that I remember fondly, but I don't feel like it adds up to a whole. And I feel like also it came so close on the heels of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and you can tell that ending on that movie worked so well for John Hughes that he was basically trying to play that sentimentality card again and again to diminishing returns. And I feel like it doesn't quite belong in this movie. That you don't want to get nihilistic and see the Griswolds suffer, but he's lost track of the fact that, okay, Vacation and European Vacation, they've got to go through stuff to find out what matters to them. And just the kind of ending that gets applied here, or the sentimentality that's put in, just feels a little out of place. But yeah, total props to Mae Kestel, because I think a lot of people who don't remember that she was the voice of Betty Boop or Olive Oil in the Popeye cartoons, or all the commercials and other cartoons she did, got introduced to her here. And what a lifetime of funny that woman had.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, she had a good little mini revival between this and getting to reprise Betty Boop a year before and Who Framed Roger Rabbit as well, bringing her back. So she had a good little reprise of her career right there. Yeah. So that's really great.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah,
got
well,
3 S's still and an A, so that bumps it up into
A.
the S, and it actually has
Yeah.
more than those ones that are kind of on the border with like Christmas Story and Holiday
Yeah,
and Bad Santa. It's actually going to
the
slide
three
up in there still. Yeah.
probably right there. Yeah. So
All right. So what we're gonna do is, and Mark's played this before, and I don't think Richie has yet, but I'll just explain it really quickly. If there's anything still on the list, basically, again, even if you can't see the list, essentially any Christmas movie that's out there, it's probably on here. Any others that you think either deserve to be in the S tier or like a very high honorable mention type A tier, just we'll go around the horn, shout them out. I will jot them down, and I'm looking for crossovers. I'm looking for anybody that agrees with the same movies. You know what I mean, or shouts out the same films. So you can name as many as you like, or as few as you like of the remaining stuff. But that's what I'm looking for, and I'm looking for crossovers. So if you need a second to kind of either jot some down or look around, that's totally cool. But I will write everybody's picks, and then once I've got the crossovers, we'll go back and do like a rapid fire 10-15 second apiece official voting. Does that make sense to everybody? I think it's good, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
You good? Okay. So, Mark, is there anything on the list you think still deserves either an S or a high A? And there's no limit.
Yes. There are 2, but first I need to wag my finger at you for not having a title that I would have definitely put in the S tier, and that is Billy Wilder's The Apartment, which has a very crucial plot thread that takes place at Christmas, although the story goes all the way to New Year's. That it is one of my regular Christmas viewings, but that being said, two that I would suggest for the A tier, and both of them animated, oddly enough. One of them is Tokyo Godfathers, which is loosely modeled on the classic, albeit I don't think it's a Christmas movie per se, the Western Three Godfathers, which starred John Wayne, which Tokyo Godfathers is this wonderful anime about three homeless people, a fallen businessman, a runaway, and a trans sex worker who come across a lost baby and decide to try and reunite it with its parent, and adventures ensue. It's very funny but very poignant and beautiful to look at. And the other animated film that I would stump for in the A tier is Klaus from Netflix, because we have heard dozens of origin stories for where Christmas came from, and people have been essentially trying to rework the same ones, and here is one that came up with an all-new mythology and managed to cover all of the ground of the things that we love about the holiday and find a new way to tell it. And that is a difficult task. And I think that this has the makings of becoming a modern day classic.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about it. I just think more people need to see it. Yeah, because I know a lot of people still haven't discovered it yet. But yeah, definitely. Sure. All right. Richie, anything you want to shout out?
For A tier, I would put Scrooged. I think it's one of it's probably one of the better versions of Christmas Carol. I really enjoy it. It's a great way to tell a story. And Bill Murray, he crushes it. And also maybe an A that you can make an A for S is The Santa Claus, Tim Allen. Just a great classic Christmas movie with a lot of heart. Even though I'm not a huge Tim Allen fan, but yeah, he's really good in this movie. So yeah, those two that stand out. Also, I don't even know if you got on this list, but I would consider it a Christmas movie. But what one to go back to a lot is and because it takes place at Christmas time, is Just Friends. I like the Ryan Reynolds movie. I really like that movie with Anna Faris. So it's a really good movie.
Not the list, but yeah.
But yeah, that's really good movie. Yeah, but those are the ones that kind of stick out for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
sounds
right.
good. Well, Austin, you got
I would also shout out Scrooged for a potential vote as well, and we can see where everybody lands on that. I go with the Santa Claus 2 is actually my favorite. I just think it's got a little more to offer and just has a little more fun. It makes me laugh a little bit more. And then for nostalgic reasons, and I'm just such a big Jim Varney fan, I love Ernest Saves Christmas, so I just really like that as a nostalgic pick. And I actually think Harold and Kumar Christmas is a really, really funny One Crazy Night movie as well. But I'm a big fan of the franchise. So yeah.
Yeah. For me, I probably have maybe more than the rest of y'all, but because I would probably, I would definitely shout out Batman Returns for an A tier. I'd give that some love. Let's see. Probably, I would. Oh yeah, definitely Home Alone 2 for an S tier. Like that's an S tier all the way. Like I think that's a crime. It's not up there yet, but and then
hey guys, I gotta go, but I'll talk. But thanks for having me on.
Sure.
Oh no! All right.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks again. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll see you. But then, I would also second Klaus though. Like I think Klaus was an incredible movie. I actually just watched it 2 days ago for the very first time on somebody's recommendation. And there's actually a guy from the community, Carl Sherlock. He recommended Klaus, and man, that movie like really got me. Like it was really, really good. So I would nominate that. And then let's see if there's anything else. Probably the Santa Claus for an S tier for sure. Like I would nominate that. And then also this morning I just watched Trading Places for the very first time, so I would give that a solid A. So yeah, those would be my picks.
Okay, so
Well, like I'll back up Scrooged for A.
Yeah.
Well, let me. I'm going to get all the ones that were that had crossover, and we will do some quick votes on those. And I'll take Richie's 2 into consideration because he did say which tier. So and all right, I think we just have 3 really that had crossover. So so the 3 that had crossover across the board were Scrooge, the Bill Murray movie. So yeah, Mark, where would you put Scrooge with Bill Murray?
A tier. Not quite S.
Yeah.
Same here. It's really good. It's like one of those like just on the border honorable mention type movies for me. Like top 15, but not quite top 10 for me. Yeah, something like that. So I'll go A.
Yeah, for me, when I saw Scrooge, like I wasn't as impressed with a lot of people. I actually would probably give it a B tier for me. Like,
okay,
yeah, but
well,
I mean,
with that, it's probably not even worth
A.
pulling up. Maybe, but you don't even have to really pull it up if it's not even going to be in real consideration.
Well, we could just put
Richie. Richie had it in A too, so three A's and a B. So yeah. Okay. All right. The other one was the original Santa Claus with Tim Allen from '94. So,
not seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Okay.
You haven't seen it?
No.
All right. Well, Austin, between you.
Well, I mean, again,
sorry to deny your quorum.
That was one of Richie's crossovers, so he had it in the A tier. I would also put it in A tier just because, again, I like the second one even more. I just think it's even more fun. But Jordan,
well, Santa Claus, I would say S tier all the way. Like this movie makes me laugh so hard. This is one of my favorite Tim Allen movies. Another one that I've seen about 100 times. I could quote, but yeah, I would say S tier. So I think with that though, like it probably it's a high A. Yeah, I would say
it's an S and 2 A's, so it's up for consideration. We'll see where it lands. Yeah, we'll see. And then the final one was Klaus, but I don't know if. I haven't seen it, so I think you 2 are the only ones that have. So I don't even know if it's going to get consideration. Unfortunately, I know, but we do still like with some of the other picks we have in the haven't seen category. It was still good to get it out as a recommendation, like for people to check it out, like to bring some attention to it. We do. Yeah,
mentioned
because
it,
some of these
but-
ones, like The Shop Around the Corner, Christmas in Connecticut, like got really high marks from William Bibbiani and Alonso Duralde. So I'm definitely gonna check those out. Same with Klaus. I just didn't get a chance to watch it before the show, so that's on me. I apologize, but I tried to. It's too much work, too much retail work.
I'm just sad Home Alone 2 didn't make it to the S tier. Like I think it deserves it.
I didn't shout it out. I think it's like a B at best,
Yeah.
bro. It's a carbon copy of the original.
Sure.
Sorry, it just
Yeah,
is.
Yeah, but
be it
But it's
be
supposed
at
to be a
best.
carbon copy. That's the point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same movie as the first
The
one in the
point.
big city. And Gremlins 2 did it better in the big city. It just is what it is.
Well, it's like 21 Jump Street. It's like they do the exact same thing, but in college. Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's the same
kinda
thing.
like that.
Okay, so what's interesting where our panel started, and now we're into we have a pinch hitter with Mark, who just happened to be watching in the comments, and now he's going to be helping us rank the thing at the end
Yeah,
of the
that
show.
there's nobody left from the
Finally,
start
yeah.
of the
Nobody
series
left.
Yeah,
of the
right.
show
Except for the
guest.
host and the co-host. The host and the co-host
Yeah,
are the
right.
only ones left with a guest that we didn't even originally have. But we're
Yeah,
happy
the
to have you,
ringer.
Mark. We're happy to
Thank
have you,
you.
Mark. You're
Yeah,
always
yeah.
a pleasure. So, but we'll see. So, now definitively, according to my
9
charts,
movies,
the four across the top there all had clean sweep S tier. So it's a matter of just ranking those four in the beginning of Die Hard, It's a Wonderful Life, Muppet Christmas Carol, and Arthur Christmas. For me personally, I would keep Arthur Christmas where it is. I don't think it's as classic yet as the other ones. So it may just be a matter of where everybody has the other three. I think I'd go It's a Wonderful Life, Die Hard, and Muppet Christmas Carol for me personally. Mark, where would you have those three?
I would have Wonderful Life, Die Hard, and Arthur Christmas. Simply
Okay.
because I haven't seen Muppet Christmas Carol. So
Oh, that's right. That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotcha. I gotcha. Okay. And Jordan, where would you have those four?
For me, I'm right with you. For Christmas movies, like normally I'd pick Die Hard number 1, but since we are talking Christmas movies, I would actually put It's a Wonderful Life and then Die Hard and then Muppet Christmas Carol, the same as
Okay,
you.
so I think all you got to do is swap
Yeah,
those first two, and we have our first four kind of where they need to be right there.
the first
I'm cool
four.
with Black Christmas and Christmas Vacation kind of being where they are, because I think Black Christmas is the best of the horror films, and we had pretty solid marks across the board for that one. It was like 4 S's and an A, so it was very strong. Same with Christmas Vacation was very strong as well, 3 and 1. So those kind of stay almost right where they are, unless anybody has any objection.
Well, for me, like I'm really high on Christmas Vacation. I would actually put it in my personal top 3. I'd put it right up there with It's a Wonderful Life for me, but I really like it.
It may depend on Mark
people,
then.
so.
I would go Black Christmas and Vacation. Mark, you may be the tiebreaker on this one. Where would you? Between the two.
What are we determining? Which is higher, Black Christmas and
or Christmas Vacation? Which would you put higher? Which one?
Oh, Black Christmas.
There you go. That's it. He's the tiebreaker. All right, so it stays where it's at.
Stays there, and then I guess it's just between the bottom 3. But we also got to add one more. We only have 9, so
that's true. So, well, with the ones we have, with the one basically Christmas Story, Holiday, and Bad Santa all had like borderline, like 2 S's, 2 A's, kind of right on the borderline. So I think because we only have 9 right now, they will stay. It's only what order they are in, and we'll do the same thing. Maybe just go around the horn. What order you would all put them in? So, Mark, what order would you put those in? Personally?
The 3 remaining in S tier.
Yes. Correct.
Well, by virtue of the fact that I haven't seen The Holiday, it would have to be Christmas Story, then Bad Santa.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I would go Christmas Story, Bad Santa, The Holiday, personally. Jordan?
If I'm the same way, I would go Christmas Story, Bad Santa, and The Holiday. Yep.
Okay,
So,
all you got to do is flip-flop Bad
fair.
Santa and The Holiday.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. And then we decide which one of these lovely A-tier films is going to get knocked up into the S tier. So now... So Elf was all over the place. The Santa Claus was S and 2 A's. Let's see. Miracle was very mixed.
For me, I'd say Home Alone.
We didn't get Mark's. I don't think Mark had jumped in on Miracle on 34th Street yet. Did you jump in for that one?
I wasn't there. I wasn't present for that one, but I would definitely put that in S tier.
Yeah.
Okay. And Jordan, you liked it too, right?
Yeah, I really like it, but I mean, are we going on based on the votes, or actually going on like what we actually think? Because
Well, I put it in the B, but it had 2 S votes as well, so it actually had more S votes in with marks included than Santa Claus. So I think that would bump it up into the S tier, based on the votes.
Because for me personally, I put Home Alone in the S tier, but that's just me. So
I don't.
Maybe
Yeah.
if we bumped up Miracle on 34th Street, we could at least give an honorable mention to Home Alone at least. I mean,
Well, yeah. Well, and bump up Miracle, and then we'll talk about the other ones.
Yeah.
I think, bump up Miracle into the S tier. It'll make it into the 10 spot. I'm okay with the Santa Claus. I know Mark hasn't seen it, but I'm okay with the Santa Claus being one of the honorable mentions because I think it is a pretty well-established family classic at this point.
Same.
And then I'm okay with Home Alone as well.
Yeah.
But Mark, what do you think? I mean,
I'm okay with it. Like if I was to rank, our 3 honorable mentions, it, because since I haven't seen Santa Claus, it would be Love Actually, then Home Alone. So
we could throw you a bone. I'm okay with Love Actually being one of the honorable mentions, so we can at least leave it as one of the honorable mentions. I'm okay with that. If Jordan is too, I'm totally cool with that. Having kind of a romance movie. I mean,
honestly, I would put Elf up there instead of Love Actually, but I mean, I'm actually fine with it though. Like I think Love Actually is probably the next one I would do after Elf, and I don't think you guys would probably agree with me on Elf, so I'm fine with doing Love Actually. So
okay,
yeah,
I mean, but those 3 work for me. Yeah, I'm cool with all that. Yeah,
that sounds good. So
all right,
that'll do it for the best Christmas movies of all time based on tier ranker fights on the Movie Hero Network.
Well, should I break it down real quick before we sign off? Yeah. So our Christmas movies, are real ones, not like tournament fights where it was utter chaos and we had Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 and Die Hard 2 and all kinds of wackiness last night on our other show. Just being silly. But yeah, for real. We've got the perennial classic, It's a Wonderful Life, at number 1. We've got John McTiernan's Die Hard at number 2. The Muppet Christmas Carol at number 3. We got the underrated underdog animated classic, Arthur Christmas, at number 4. We got the horror movie Black Christmas at number 5. Christmas Vacation, number 6. A Christmas Story at number 7. We got Billy Bob Thornton as Bad Santa at number 8. We got Nancy Meyer's The Holiday at number 9. And the original Miracle on 34th Street coming in at number 10. And then with our 3 honorable mentions, we have Tim Allen as the Santa Claus, Love Actually, and Home Alone.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
All right. Oh, yeah. So that'll do it for us tonight. So, but yeah, we appreciate you coming on to be a.
Yeah, we didn't plan on it, Mark, but it's a wonderful surprise. It's a wonderful surprise. We appreciate it, man. Thank you for jumping in on short notice. This is great.
Well, I like gory movies, but I like sentimentality too.
Sure,
so
who doesn't?
I contain multitudes.
And sometimes gory, sentimental movies, a little mix of both with things like Black Christmas or Gremlins or, a little bit of horror. Nothing wrong with a little bit of horror and Christmas mixed together. We all love that.
Yeah, just a shout out to some of our regulars that are in the chat that I was gonna have another pinch hitter come in, but I figured we were so close to the end of the episode.
We're winding it down. It's all right. But thanks to Jacob Barber, Jacob West, Brian Nussbaum, Stephen Shepard, some of our usuals that are bumming around in the chat. Malcolm, Moose, and some of those guys.
So
all right. Well, Mark, since you are here, anyways, is there anything you'd like to plug since you pinched it and you were so gracious to come in for
sure.
us? Yeah, please.
Well, first off, my blog, which is called The Projector Has Been Drinking, and that can be found at projectorhasbeendrinking.blogspot.com. I just posted a deep dive essay on Night in Soho talking about some elements in the movie that haven't been discussed. Huge spoilers within, so if you haven't seen it, don't read it until you see it. And I do recommend seeing it. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I also
I really want to
write periodically for the New Beverly's Cinemas blog, which is thenewbev.com/blog. The most recent piece I posted was an appreciation of the actress Paula Shepherd, who made only 2 movies, Alice Sweet Alice and Liquid Sky, but she's unforgettable in both of them. And even though she's vanished to the 4 wins, I go into why.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good, man.
Well, Austin,
Thank you.
do you have anything that you wanna shout out?
Yeah,
or-
no, not really. Just if you want to see a absolutely spiraling into madness Christmas show on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, go check out our tournament fights from last night of Christmas movies.
Yeah.
It was a blast,
Top
but it
8
was
are a
also
little wacky.
it was a wacky list, but this is the one where we took seriously. So yeah, Chadwick, one of our guests who was on earlier, me and him had a movie battlegrounds match. It's really great. Go check it out. Other than that, not really. I'll leave it to Jordan after that.
Yeah. So, you can check out some of our upcoming episodes. So, actually, Richie, who was just on with us, this upcoming Tuesday, we're going to be doing his top 64 movies of all time. So, that should be a fun time because I think me and Richie kind of have a bit of a differing taste when it comes to movies. So we'll see how it goes there. But we also have coming up, we're going to be doing best non-universe comic book movies. So like basically anything that's not part of the MCU, part of the DCEU, and part of the like Fox or the Spider-Man universe. We're going to be talking about
We're
like
even including
all
stuff
kinds
from
of
like
stuff.
comic strips, Richie Rich or Dick Tracy, Flash Gordon, just
all
stuff
that
like
stuff.
that. We're stretching we're gonna have a little fun with that. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I can't wait to see where little Lulu fits in.
yeah, right. Yeah, but
Little Lulu, I love you just
Lulu,
the same.
I used to rent those videos from my local library, like VHS tapes of like there was a compilation of like 4 of those. I used to rent like every other week as a kid. Yeah, I love those old cartoons.
But then, since we're in December and it's kind of like a more kind of family-oriented time of the year, we're going to be doing best live-action family-oriented movies. So they're going to be the best that are rated G and PG that are live action. So we'll be doing those coming up.
Are you going to be doing New Year's movies?
Yeah, we'll be doing New Year's movies for sure. So yeah. So if you have any interest in
well, when you do New Year's movies, make sure you have Alan Arkish's Get Crazy on the list. It's about to be released on Blu this month, and it's a real gem that not enough people have seen, and it should be a New Year's tradition to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. But
I'm partial to New Year's Evil myself. Wacky 80s horror movie.
Yeah, right.
Another one with a lot of creepy phone calls.
Yeah.
But
then also, going on the heels of the Schmoedown Spectacular, we're going to be doing a little tournament fights for the best Schmoedown contestants of all time. So that should be a fun one to talk about. And then,
is Mark Everett Hoyk up for competition on that one? I'll vote for him. I'll put him through to the finals.
Yeah, one of the best character works, I would say, for sure. Yeah. But we also have best 80s comedies coming up, and then we also are going to be doing the best movies of 2021. We're going to kind of break down the year in movies and see what some of our favorite movies from 2021 were. So yeah, we got some fun stuff coming up. So we can look forward to that. And then also you can find the poll with our top 10 and our 3 honorable mentions tomorrow over on the Schmoedown Friends and Family group as usual. And then you can find us on all the social medias at Movie Hero 2121 on Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. And also, if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, we're doing a big push for subscribers. So if you hit that button, it really helps the channel out a lot, and you can do the little notification thing too, so you can stay up to date on whenever we post kind of off the beaten path episodes like today. Like our usual filming schedule is usually Tuesday and Friday, but to accommodate Alonzo Duralde, so we could have him on to talk Christian movies, we did a Wednesday episode. So yeah, those do happen from time to time. So, but yeah, but that'll do it tonight. So I just got to shout out everyone who was on the episode if I can.
I know we got to remember everybody who dropped in and out of this episode.
Yeah.
William Bibiani, Matt Atchity,
Matt
Alonso
Atchity,
Duralde,
Alonso.
and his book Have Yourself a Movie Little
Yep.
Christmas, which we were plugging throughout the whole thing. And
Yeah.
Chadwick Webb, Richie Goodacre, and
Richie.
a surprise pinch hitter, and Mark Edward Hoyk chiming in the
Yeah,
thing and able to
yeah.
join us. Thank you so much. You're the man. We appreciate it. We've been looking for an excuse to get you on, but we didn't even need to. He loves Christmas movies and he was watching. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, this is great.
Yeah, and then
All right,
also
thanks
for
a lot.
Austin, and then I've been Jordan, movie hero Anderson, and we got a little Christmas stinger. So here you go.